I'm Jumba, and we got a special edition of the Community Plays of the Week, because we're going through Peanut's top moments of the Timmy and Burnt Peanut Rookie to Predator stream. Let's start with a quick honorable mention. You know Peanut is an Apex OG, because instead of using his R99 here, he's going for the Kraber heat checks.
Oh! Oh no, it's got him, I got him!
But into number 5, I guess Timmy was immediately rubbing off on Peanut, because you know this was a clip you'd expect to see him hit.
Oh my god! No scope! Shit! Did you see that? Did you see that?
I saw that.
We're cooking, boys! We're cooking!
Oh. Some are saying that was massive for the Bungalators, but into number 4, you can see in this Peanut size, he is tired. And I guess a 30-hour warm-up is what he needed to finally lock in.
There's your one, there's your one.
Ooh. I think it's a new team.
Can we slide back to me? Slide back to me.
I died.
No, it's in the Nexus Ranger again.
Oh, I'm kind of.
I died.
Wait, I'm fried. Oh my god!
Oh my god!
God!
Oh my
I just pieced up that whole team right there. We're back. It's time to play the game. It's time to play the game.
I guess 30 hours is when it's time to start playing the game. But that clip sets up number 3, 26 hours of no sleep, and Peanut finds the answer. Infinite ammo and an L-Star. So no reloading, no thinking, just shooting and entering the flow state.
What's up?
That guy's one.
Down one.
I'll res. Yeah, you just hold the height.
Watch out. He's right here. He's low.
Yeah, if you need to back up. You too.
Another one low.
Oh. Bang low.
Got two.
That's outside. He ran outside. You guys. Rest quick.
I'll res. Go get him, Peanut. Come on.
I'm on it, boss. Gotcha. I might actually be back. Maybe we did need a 26-hour warm-up.
All you guys, if you play the same angle.
Oh, I feel on top of the world. Let me kill all these people.
What?
Nobody can stop me. I'm too good.
Yeah. You guys get it.
Nobody can stop. Oh, the last one's one shot. Go.
Pulling up, Timmy.
Oh, they've been so cool if I got them all.
At number 2, my man's become an Apex master now, and has become one with the Sentinel, starting this off with a 158 to the dome piece.
Oh my god!
Take them.
Speed dance!
Oh, they're on top of each other. Go.
Two down.
19.
You get back here. Oh my god! Oh my god!
Okay,
I'm insane!
And after that, you got to be wondering what could possibly take number 1. Well, surely it could only be topped by Peanut fulfilling the prophecy.
Fulfilled the prophecy.
Respect them. It is the slingshot.
So I went back to the lobby. I'll see me stay in and requeue.
No, you go lobby.
It is the prophecy.
Yeah, I don't know.
As the prophecy foretold. As the prophecy foretold.
In case you missed it, let's play it back in slow motion one time. Peanut literally lifts off his seat.
So I went back to the lobby.
And that's your Burnt Peanut top 5s. A huge thank you to Peanut for letting us at ALGS use his clips. You can find him obviously on all socials at The Burnt Peanut. And also, if you'd like, you can find me anywhere at JumbaGW. Finally, make sure to go to the community tab on the ALGS website and submit your clips so you can be featured in the next one.
Settle it, look at the life that we relish, I'm telling it. I'm the star of the show and the regiment. Can't stop me, bro, ain't no pedaling, ain't no riding the wave. Staring right in your face, you know where I'm getting it. This ain't back in the days. Get ready for more and more, ain't no meddling, no. Gotta know what my head is for sure. I had a show when I was young, I had my back on the ropes, looking like I never had. shadow and roll, a school of hard knocks. I get hard props, got drive even when the car stops. I don't ask it if they let me, ain't no get ready. When you stay ready, let's go.
This is a heist. We're taking the Trident, and the Trident is gone.
What? You have the ability to look for heartbeats within a million meters, and now Optic, they're getting sucked in.
United Columbia, you can. We're trying to make it a thing, so Apex Creed is going to join us. Oh, nice damage.
Wait for that.
Alright, go. Kill this guy, kill this guy. Kill him, go.
What is going on? Throw me, Zach. You better win this shit.
Oh my god. None of them are weak, bro. I'm hitting every punch. Get the guy for 100.
Give me the f out of here, bro. Give me the f out of here. That just happened.
Effect is left on his own. He's going to jump in the Trident. Can he get through? Surely. Magical. He threads the needle.
They're looking to take these fights late and engage. That Trident stall could be an issue. It's a great jump there. Oh my god, playing a whole different minigame in Apex.
Oh man, they're now going on to the next though. You talk about some Trident shenanigans, by the way. We are flying to the skies off this Trident. Okay.
What I said, Tridents are good for Cito Station, right past that particular.
Okay, what? No way! Playing around the knockdown shield, but it's gonna be a 2v1. It looks like the black hole bombing in.
It's going to be rough because everybody keeps looking at Atlas every time they move, but they're trying to go for the. Oh, this amount of damage!
あんまり強気にいけないですね、これ。うわー！出せてるけど。Bubble Trident, we need to come up with a term for Bubble Trident. Trouble. Bob Dent shows us another reason to try and make sure that Trident's near you. That is scenic.
Well, I never thought an in memoriam on imaginary vehicle would make me so emotional to start this broadcast, but it has. Goodbye, Trident. It's been 6 years, 6 wonderful, crazy, interesting, unexpected years with you in our ALGS, and now we say goodbye. But with that, there is a new beginning coming forward here as we jump into the return of the ALGS Split 1 this year, and of course, the introduction of a lot of new things. I'm sure many of you are ready to start jumping into characters especially. But let's welcome you back to the broadcast. I'm Rain Day. I'm joined by Dia and Graceful today as we welcome you back to the ALGS after a long break. Dia, it's great to have you back and great to just see some Apex on the screens again.
I'm still emotional. I'm still
so sorry.
emotional
I asked you a question during that time.
about the Trident. I'm going through something right now. I am very excited, however, to get into today's games. It is the final round robin. The stakes are high, and as ever, life must go on, Rain Day.
Yeah, it must. It must. Grace, I mean, you know, I know you're emotional over there too. Maybe you found a way to be pragmatic about this and give us your thoughts on the impact of the Trident leaving us.
I mean, good riddance. We need to have all the legends run on foot. We have too much mobility in this game. Trident gone is a good thing. We've gone from indestructible, destructible, and now gone. I'm happy to see if people's macro gets changed in Pro League. That's what I'm here for, the game. I don't care about the memorial. Good riddance.
Respect
I know who isn't doing the eulogy at my funeral. I know who is not doing it. You are off the list now, bro. I'm sorry. That is hilarious. Well, you know, obviously the Trident is just one major change, and it came with the influx of a brand new change, which is the newest character in Apex Legends. You've seen the content, you've seen the clips. You've probably taken a slide or two if you've played the game. Axel has jumped into the meta in a big way, guys. And it is not only the almost replacement of a Trident, but it's a new invention of the way to play the game. Dia, this skirmisher brings so much to the table and really has kind of transformed the way we think about movement in Apex.
Yeah, I to be honest, did not expect to like Axel. I have not been a big movement player for a long time. I'm known for liking Rampart, for sitting down and machine gunning people with Sheila. When this skirmisher came out, I went, you know, it's probably not for me. I tried her out, and oh my god, she is insane. She is some of, not just insane, the most fun that I have had playing this game, being able to drift around the entire stage, whatever map you're on, especially rewarding map knowledge. I will say, note that with getting 2 charges on her tactical ability, that does seem to be the sort of favored upgrade that a lot of people are going, because her tactical is the thing that makes her. But Axel has been a blessing to my games. I'm very curious how she'll play out in the ALGS when that sort of volatility and that sort of speed can mean so much more.
I mean, Graceful, you look at Axel, the impact she's had already is huge, offensively, but also defensively. If you had to point out one aspect of what is most important for fans watching the ALGS and competitive play that Axel brings to the table, what would it be in your eyes?
I mean, anything people even can bring and apply into their game immediately. You know, I've always talked a lot about timings and how do you react to team fighting and third partying. Axel mixes up those timings drastically. Normally, I would say if you don't close out a fight in 10 to 15 seconds, you know, you're going to get third party, so make sure to close out before that. With Axel in the game, 5, maybe 0.5 at this point, who knows? You have to make sure that you actually end the fight even faster or you're ready, because they can triple swing you from out of nowhere. So it's going to be really interesting to see how teams apply this pressure and timing-wise to see if they can make something happen. Or are they going to be a little bit more passively say, let's just let other teams make the misplay and then see if we can, you know, counteract that.
It's kind of like, I'll use a more general term. I was going to go basketball, but I'll go football, soccer, where you take a shot on a goalkeeper and you miss, it goes out of bounds. And you know you have the goal kick and you can get back, and then they'll kick it in the air and then you'll be ready to settle. It's like Axel takes that traditional known timing players are used to, and once you shoot on the goal, like you could 5 seconds later be having someone dribbling and shooting on your goal. And you're like, wait, don't they have to go through the kick to get the ball? Doesn't the ball boy have to throw it back? The keeper's, you know, got a place and look where he wants to go. No, none of that stuff happens anymore, Grace, as far as I understand it. So teams having to understand like, hey, this is the game we know, but it's also a completely different game.
Yeah, most definitely. Huge changes, and it's going to be fun to see how they adapt.
I will say, I think we're going in the same direction here, where I will say it's going to be fun to see how teams adapt. Also, it can be pretty tough to adapt to something that's as big as this. I've said that Axel is fun, and that's because I'm playing to have fun. But
that's
these
true.
players, they're playing to win the league. They're playing to go to playoffs. They're playing for their livelihoods. And when something like Axel gets introduced, it can, as Al pointed out, kind of feel like too much.
And you're making a good point where there are these other elements of pro players have done things for 7 weeks. They know this break is coming. This break always introduces something important that they have time to prep. But this is a drastic level of prep. We don't often see characters that just truly shift. We don't see that many legends introduced, you know, now throughout the years. We maybe get 1.5, maybe 2 a year in Apex at this rate. So this is definitely something that pro players have pushed back a little bit, saying this is almost too much to have to deal with. But Dia, on the flip side of it, me being a realist, I always lean to it's in the game. So we, you know, like EA, it's in the game. We got to figure out how we're going to deal with it.
Yeah, as much as I'd like to have the debate of whether Axel is the best for the ALGS right now or not, what it really comes down to is that we're on an ALGS broadcast at this very moment, and whether she should or shouldn't be wherever she is, that doesn't matter. What matters is that you play the best game possible with the tools that you have, and Axel is a tool that you have, Grace.
Yeah, most definitely. And that's the thing, though, is you have to be adaptable, and if you're not, all of these teams are also playing in regards to, you know, the last. If you're in Group A, this is the weekend. If you're in Group B, you have a little bit more time to prep, but if you don't have that, it's definitely tough.
Well, that's what makes these changes so important, too, because you're not only navigating in Group A, big changes like from Orgless in Hungary and Zipline Mafia, Grace, which I want your thoughts on, but you're also adding Axel into it. So you're getting new players, new teammates, new ways of playing, but also a new game. That's tough.
Yeah. I mean, you know, in regards to Orgless in Hungary, I've always been a big vouch for, you know, exploring the unknown. You have to try stuff, and I think Taxington is one of the players actually that is on one of the people that people underestimated on a specific LAN, had a huge splash and played the best out of EMEA for that specific LAN, and now maybe Fricks going into the Friction could be the next up and coming players. I really hope so, because, you know, I've been battling it out with him for years when he was on Danish and other rosters, and, you know, I'm always happy to see people have a, you know, maybe a late bloomer, and that's a good thing.
I couldn't help but hear Fricks into the friction. I mean, I kind of like something there, you know. Friction. Let's see if he continues to impress here on the new squad. Obviously, Pro League, we're in a really important weekend, not just for everybody, but for Group A particularly, because they play both of their games, their groups, this weekend. Next weekend, it's just B versus C. So as you said, it's important for Group A to perform because they'll be watching next weekend, but also there's a disadvantage because they do not have a week to prepare after seeing these games like B and C will have on whether Axel's really fitting into this lobby. So it's going to be an interesting one, Dia, but I kind of want to start talking a little bit about Group B because they've got some changes too.
Yeah, the biggest change to me, if I can focus us in on everything that's happening on this screen right now, is going to be the first one, ECLIPSE NEEVEPRO. Because this is both ECLIPSE NEEVEPRO getting Uchaco, but also a roster that a lot of people were excited for in UAV, going their separate ways, deciding that things really weren't working out. Uchaco has left that roster for good now and will be with Kashera and Kings. Really interesting in itself because Kashera is, or was at one point, top of the league, almost top of the world. Kings definitely top of South America in his time, having come over here finally to EMEA. Uchaco gets to join that as a world champion himself, but I would say that all three of these players, and ECLIPSE NEEVEPRO, might not be on Struggle Street just yet, but they are on Anxious Avenue right next to it.
Yeah, I mean, you know, that does look like a team that has a lot to prove, a lot of players who've done well in different ways, but does that combination come out to a dish that's palatable, or is it something that's going to get sent back to the kitchen? That's what we've got to find out in just a moment. Also, coming into this as well, I just want to make sure that you guys let us know in chat. We're listening. We want to hear what you think about Axel. We want to hear what you think about the break. What are you excited to see? Make sure to interact with us. We'll be watching and hopefully bringing up some of your comments as well. But we love the Play Apex community, and thank you guys for being a part of us. If you want to connect more, there are socials down below, and you can obviously find us on every single platform for updates on what we're doing. And speaking of that, guys, there's a big update that just came through. I'm sure you've seen it on our ALGS Play Apex Esports on X. It's that the ALGS is going to Paris. That's right. There has been news this week that EWC 26 has actually changed locations from Riyadh now to Paris, France. Macron had just welcomed the entire organization of EWC, the tournament, into the city. It is the first official host city of EWC since its inception. So it will be exciting for that case as well to see how it looks in a different venue. And obviously the pros now having to shift gears into a new location where they'll be traveling and they'll be playing our first LAN of the season. More updates on that soon, guys. But as of now, we have to turn our attention to Group A versus B. This is a big one, guys. The first and final doubleheader of our second half of the season for Group A. And it's going to be a banger.
It is. I'm nervous, to be honest, about specifically Group A, especially as we head into their last look at the season being just this weekend. In the next, was that 24, 40, want me to call it 27 hours. Yeah. EMEA, at the very least, will be done if you are in Group A. And starting things off on E District is going to be a tall order as well. E District as a map hasn't changed very much, Graceful, but the fact that we are starting there means that Axel is available on E District, something that is going to shift a lot.
I mean, even then, E District, sure, Axel will, you know, have an impact because she's so impactful as a legend in its own. But Olympus, where the map is 90% slopes, you almost feel like in almost every POI there is a big slope. Those are the high impact slides that you're gonna see from that character's kit that will definitely throw fights, both grief teams and also enable fights that normally wasn't enabled before. You know, I always keep reminding myself, hey, there's a team over there. If they get into a fight, we're gonna 3P. Before you had to run, now you're almost teleporting at that point to just immediately 3P that. It's gonna be a ton of fun to see if people are willing to use this character to potentially try to see what potential she has, or are they gonna lean back and play a little bit more safe and cautiously?
Yeah, one of the things that I'd like to point out here around the POIs is that Virtus Pro, of course, is the team to keep your eyes on. If you've watched EMEA for a while, you know this is one of the top performing teams in the region, and they're going to be landing on the southeast side of the map. I am noticing that Infinite, however, very close to them. Infinite, playing out of Group A, are going to be on the rotation path for Virtus Pro and are currently not in position to make it to Split 1 playoffs. So they are going to have a very good first 3 games, specifically when it comes to their approach to macro around Virtus Pro. Since really we don't get a lot of zones down there, it is expected that both these teams will be rotating north at the same time, and I think Infinite is at the biggest risk in this map.
when we're also talking about in the middle of the pack where you're saying they might not make finals lobby, we can talk about 3 men's potentially in Shipyard Arcade. 35th currently. When you're in that spot, you're no longer fighting to make finals, Dia. You're making sure you don't get locked out of Pro League and you have to fight your way back in there, because the bottom, I believe the bottom X amount of teams, like 7 teams ish, are gonna get knocked out, where the rest of the teams in the middle stays in Pro League and other ones move forward. And you have to make sure that you are in the best position to always keep having good, you know, consistent results if you can, because if you have one bad day now, that means you have to win the next one to move up. And if you haven't, you know, if you're in the bottom 30th currently after at this point, winning is way harder task than making sure you at least, you know, move up that leaderboard to maybe top 8 potentially.
Looking at E-District now as we get ready for map number 1. As you say, stressful for a lot of different reasons for a lot of different teams. Some of these teams are competing for the top, and I'd say they have, as you know, that while they may be stressed about it, a much easier time of it than those teams that are just trying to avoid the bottom. Those teams that are worried, like SJP2 are, I imagine, sitting at 30th place right now, landing top of the map, about their chances, not just about making playoffs, not just about making regional finals, but about even making it into next split. That is an increasing reality, and in many ways, Graceful, as we approach the end of the season, we got to start making room as well, figuring out who's sticking around and who is going to be moving aside for the new and upcoming talent that is coming through the Challenger circuit as we speak.
Yeah, I mean, Challenger circuit as well. Anybody in the rank squads at the moment can make it through there. And if you're not taking this opportunity to make sure that you're grinding as a team, trying that Challenger circuit to make it all the way into Pro League on the screen that we see with all these pro players, what are you doing right now? Because that, in my opinion, is the peak of Apex as we're leading into match number 1 right now. We can't wait to see how this is going to shake up. Some people are saying that Axel gets banned game number 2, game number 3. Do you think teams are going to opt to immediately fight and try to get as many reps in as possible? Or are we going to see the typical alter/crypto potentially, because that's what a lot of teams are comfortable with and we see consistency?
Heretics, at the very least, have opted to stick with the Alter Crypto, and that's something that I've been hearing a lot. Virtus Pro, I talked to Prestis earlier this week, was mentioning as well that despite the strength that we are seeing globally demonstrated by Axel, that at least for now, that's not really their focus. There's been a lot that people like Maggie, like Alter, can offer to pro teams, and Axel accelerates things, but she doesn't offer a whole lot of new growth avenues for squads.
I think it's also one of those cases there where, you know, like when his Watson pioneered Seer, everybody tried Seer. Everybody did not have a good Seer, and they ended up getting punished by it. Axel could definitely be in the same boat where, like, she does a lot, but I don't think every team will excel at using her. However, I believe the potential is definitely there because she is absolutely crazy if, you know, the plays do end up happening. But once again, not every team is that excelling that well at even close range fighting. You know, some teams win 9 out of 10 3v3s in close range, and some teams don't. Those teams that don't probably shouldn't pick her up at that point. You might have to opt for other strategies.
Our first strike dealt by Citadel as they're on a pretty quick rotation. One of the very things that can catch a lot of teams off. Over at draft point, they will get our first ring read of the map, knowing where we're going, as actually, despite what I said earlier about Infinite and Virtus Pro being on the same path, they're converging on the same place. We are not moving from the southeastern side of the map for this game.
Yeah, I mean, Humbert Labs endings, or even if it ends up pulling a little bit more south than that, all of these zones have a lot of playable area, especially with the likes of Alter, as we see a ton in the game right now. However, Caustic should be able to deny a little bit more space, but people are definitely opting to rotate early, as we already see so many teams getting nice and comfy.
Taking a look up towards the top of the map as well, I am noticing that teams like Zipline, Mafia are starting to get their first ring reads, and SJP2 are rotating really slowly. As an edge team, SJP2 have liked to get aggressive early. They could do just that against Orgless and Hungary, since those teams are so isolated on the north side.
Yeah, I think, though, we'll have to see. A lot of teams are opting to see how the lobby plays out, because are people gonna take the changes now that we haven't really seen too much? People might have seen them in scrims, but now in Pro League, will people play it a little bit differently? You know, even though we talked about the new character Axel specifically, other changes did come in with the season change as well. So will that affect the game anyhow? Will we see a huge L-star potentially later today? We shall see.
I hope we do. Gamin Gladiators have actually been doing really well in scrims for what it's worth. They had a couple of wins earlier this week, and I'd expect them to honestly stay on top. Gamin Gladiators have been a team to look out for in EMEA for quite a long time, and even right now, sitting already in the southwestern side, or rather southeastern side of the map, they've got a pretty solid position, especially with Caustic. You can bunker up in this area for a while, though I wouldn't say it's a game-winning one.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. At the end of the day, if you're not entirely sure where it is, you just got to make sure that you're playing in positions where you can make rotates or micro rotates happen. Because if you lock yourself in, it pulls all the way off of you, you're going to get punished immediately. So playing in a spot where it might not win you, but you're waiting for the next zone knowledge, or just looking to see how other teams are rotating on their map, that's a good positioning in my opinion. So as long as they're keeping their eyes open and making sure to adapt to what's happening around them, not too bad.
I'd say DSK are in one of the better spots based on what you said. They're sitting towards the south side and have a lot of flexibility, especially if the ring makes an awkward pull away from them. Playing around the edge, or what people might call slow side of zone, can benefit you in this way, where there are a lot less teams rotating through you, but also you have a lot more room to maneuver around the edges of the map when and if you need to. A team like 3 Men also going to benefit from that, being in the south side. And as we go through, I'm just going to start taking count. I don't think I see a single Axel in this lobby for as much as I expected her.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the things, you know, we can talk about different regions, right? You have APEC North, APEC South, who tend to always have played historically to their comforts, aka they've been playing a lot of Watson and Crypto historically. You have EMEA, who's been balanced, I would say, willing to try stuff, but always tend to lean on the fundamentals. And then you have the American teams who tend to want to pioneer stuff and make plays. And that's why we see a lot of different comps in different regions. This also does change over time as you get into higher level competition, when we go to LAN, when we go to, especially to champs. But I'm not too shocked to see that EMEA isn't pulling her out just yet. They want to make sure they play for fundamentals and what they have been practicing. I am also ready, though, in several hours from now, where we get to see the American region play. Probably we're going to see Axel there very early on, in my opinion.
Gamin Gladiators did lose Zane for the moment. A recovery that should be pretty easy given that they have Crypto. Respawn's also something that got touched up in Season 29, making that a whole lot easier and a whole lot safer for teams like Gamin Gladiators. Vushi going to back off for right now and let GG have the lower end of this POI back. It is going to be a bit of a problem, though, as teams continue to condense around here, as the zone is going to pull us further and further into the southwest side. Whether GG can actually survive the teams that are going to be walking in here, and I do mean walking, because we don't, for all that we have Axels, by the way, those are the blank pieces that you're seeing.
Yeah.
We don't have any Valks that are going to be suddenly jumping on people.
I will say, though, out of the Axels that are in the game on Orgless and Hungry SCP2, both of them are playing on edge. They are both looking to potentially engage and fight somebody, because that's where Axel especially excels at. ECLIPSE, however, already in a fight, gets knocked out immediately. Go out as the first team getting eliminated. I know Kazak feels good about that.
I know that Uchako feels terrible. Oh, no! I literally talked to him like 2 days ago. He's like, yeah, I feel pretty good about it. Switching teams, it's a nice way to get me a better spot, get the team in a better position when we think about playoffs. But man, you are not going to get to think about playoffs for very long if your games are starting like this.
That's the thing, though. Consistency. Having a donut or two is fine. Once you get past that threshold of 3 matches played, all of a sudden you got to get big games, and that's just not what you want to do. You want to make sure you keep consistency up. However, we also know that historically some teams have been thriving on just one big game and they've made it through. So Uxako is going to have to hope that his team right now is one of those teams, as we see other teams, however, playing the typical play style of just making sure to let the zone close in, let everybody coexist. There's currently like 15 teams in the zone pretty much, and they're all just chilling.
Well, Blessed is on high ground right now. I think it's not exactly chilling. We were actually talking about this earlier, you and I, Graceful, about how zone is a surprisingly aggressive place to be depending on what region you're in, depending on how the teams around you play. And we've seen quite a bit of aggression moving out of the center of this zone, quite a bit around the edge as well, as we finally get our Axels on screen. SJP2 making the best use of that to group up once again, but SJP2 have yet to pick a fight successfully. Very little damage done so far, and right now they're still pressed up against Zipline Mafia, the same team they were up against earlier. 3 men find their first kill, and it is a tough game to try and play slow, Grace.
Most definitely, especially now when we're talking, when we see the likes like how Alter has impacted the game as well. You know, back in the day when you're playing Watson or Caustic, you were locked down in a building. Now with Alter in game, you can get sent anywhere. It doesn't matter if you trapped everything up. One Alter Q through the wall and they could pop up behind you. Seeing that though, however, nice plays from 3 men, getting a couple of KP on the board. As we talked about Orgless in Hungary as well, with the addition of Fricks on that crypto. It's gonna have to see if Taxington can make something happen here on that Axel.
Now they're playing around the edge of the map right now. Orgless and Hungary have Heretics in front of them, and with the zone closing, they won't have a whole lot of ways out. Alter, their best chance to reset, take an awkward position, and I will note that Orgless and Hungary have taken the liberty of setting up a Void Nexus behind them. So if you do see them get sent, they have safety. They can afford to get a little aggressive right now.
Yeah, most definitely. Always having that safety net is always a good thing. However, at the end of the day, you know, it's not as good as it was before, but it's still very good ultimate to use there if they can get that reset off. However, I think that a lot of the times now when you're playing Axel, you're kind of all inning at that point. Like, if you're sliding somewhere, like this space that she covers is so vast, it's going to be tough to get that full reset off unless, you know, trades on both sides. But with Axel as a character that enables those triple swings very easily, is like the fights last way shorter because it's so explosive.
I need a turnaround from SJP2 unless they want to go out like ECLIPSE, who, like, we had an unfortunate donut earlier in this game. SJP2 have basically been hounded across the map. They don't have a safe spot in zone. They don't have good resources. They don't have a good position. They don't have a winning fight. They are in some of the most trouble, although I would say most trouble goes to Team Heretics, who did just leave us in 19th.
I mean, as well, we saw the zone there is pulling all the way southeast, actually, not ending especially inside of Humbert Labs, but a little bit more southeast, as we said as well, in the town area, where now Orgless and Hungary, even though they're on the cusp right outside, they have a playable area in the next zone, and other teams are rotating in with the likes of Axel. Are they going to opt for more KP, or are they going to try to get deeper in? We shall see, as Citadel Gaming as well is making sure that the other team that's also outside of the zone is going to get engaged on right now as Kaisha is coming through here. All of them is engaging with the EMP, and they do almost put Colibri on 1 HP.
They got him.
And they're chasing him.
Come on. It's literally 1 HP. I've never seen someone more one. Finally, Colibri will go down. Citadel sure to pick that kill up, as they do actually need to full thirst it to get the point. Something that Citadel Gaming are a little bit low on right now. There's the finish, and Colibri is down. Citadel picking up the kill, having invested the EMP and a fair amount of their time to help take out DSK, who Awakened will finish off.
Even then, they got engaged from one side, got into a building, got engaged from the other side. Phoenix, CJ, and Missy is looking very happy with that, as they essentially get free KP.
We're actually running Conduit as well. We didn't talk a lot about Conduit, but she has seen a big increase in priority. We'll see how much Conduit we actually get today, as Havoc Legends do step a little too close to Black Venom. They do finally find the kill, as Osam is able to take them out, and Havoc Legends find their first squad wipe of the game. We have moved ourselves down pretty significantly with 4 teams out. 1 more team gone would mean that we start accruing placement points for every squad left in the lobby, and Awakened maybe giving us just that. Those are some insane frag nades, but Cracked takes a little too much damage and we'll get out of dodge.
I'm a little bit... I thought they would definitely engage on that, seeing that he got the ticks as well, 2 of the ticks with those frags, but opt to play it a little bit more safe. They're definitely not in the next zone, so they're going to have to opt. They got 55 seconds to make sure that they can make it into the next zone, as the zone also pulled very far southeast. So Everybody that was very happy in Humbert Labs are now gonna have to fight one another for either they're gonna play indoors of the remaining south side of Humbert Labs, right here where we see Novo Esports. They're gonna have to fight for the same areas essentially, but in the opposite building.
Two teams right now, Orgless in Hungary and the Horde, have the best position in final zone. Though they don't know it yet. They're about to find out with the next zone close and pop. Everyone else gonna have to move. Teams like SJP2, teams like Citadel going to have to move even now, and Citadel in the roughest spot to do this. Gonna get a respawn. Again, these are quicker this season, but it's whether they can survive the next rotate that really concerns me.
Yeah, SJP2 as well. We talked about them earlier. And a huge one mag from Sneaky comes out with that R9. Nice play from that Alter player. Let's see if they can close up this fight as they're making sure they can reset. They don't get to reset. One bat goes off. Densei, last one alive with 1 HP and a full bat as he's taking it down. They are taken down as well. However, Nova Esports get thirded immediately. Even without the likes of Axel, you can't dispute the fact that people are gonna send if you're fighting way too near one another.
And as Novo go down, we move into 14 squads left. As the zone is closing, Citadel are fighting for their lives, and we're going to move down a little further to 13 teams. Citadel making the rotation and the reset. A miracle play from Citadel.
We talked about Awaken as well, needing to move right there. They got caught as other people right now with the zone closing very fast, getting eliminated immediately. GG feeling really good. You talked about them having good results, and they're keeping that up.
That was a very nice move from GG. Watch their backs, Alter port up underneath the competition. Virtus Pro not having as good of a time. We're actually going to get abducted. Tackmaster with to fight in a barrel of caustic gas, and Virtus Pro are out.
I mean, we all Pro one of as well. EU, however, also not staying down. They're looking to wipe GG at the moment. Can't really tell if they're going to be looking to just make sure they clean up, get some loot, get that KP if they can potentially, or just the thirst. Making sure they have a playable area.
Needs another, finds the shield swap and survives. Elite managed to keep everyone up as GG, not so lucky, get finished off.
One of the things though, we did see Axel still alive. Is it the new reign of the new legend from Orgless and Hungary? Really close to the next zone even. But right now, Citadel Gaming sitting outside of the zone, needing to move in 10 seconds. I really want to find out what they're thinking at this moment as they have to rotate. Let's have a listen in with Citadel Gaming.
That's fine, we could.
I think, guys, low-key, I think left side might be the play. Just going left and looking for kills.
Okay. Just remember
play
they drop away.
If there's nothing on the left side, we just queue in and fucking go for the backside shop and fight those guys.
Okay. I hear you.
Okay. Does he move?
Okay, right side is gonna play here.
I'm playing with Zuni, okay?
I'm not using Qs to forward.
Just play small. Maybe play small.
Yeah, they're gonna fight inside. Look! We can shoot these guys!
50, 100! Dead! I'm getting
behind us. Nading.
Nading's out. We can wipe that. I'm keen on.
Turning. 100!
Kill.
Killing!
What? Dead, look out. 50.
Swinging him.
You get him? Yeah. Dead.
Come to me.
I need to move forward. I'm batting my rock here.
Look, left. Go. Just go this. Yeah, with you.
I'm dead. You can play my rock if you need to.
Give me knock on the right.
Stop. 50 kills, guys. 50 kills.
Down.
Yep. We're seeing right now they opted for KP instead, and it turned out huge for them because walking in and getting eliminated is not the play. However, on the opposite side of things, Vushi and the boys are getting eliminated right now by Orgless and Hungary. Incident gets taken out, but they were very happy with that play as the other team got the KP as well. Horde right now is all about the timing as we talked about earlier, Dia.
Horde are currently taking a fight. Orgless and Hungary literally just have to wait for this fight between Horde and ForFun to kick off. They must engage.
Plays out a little bit slow. have to see as Orgless and Hungry owns the circle for an end game. They're looking for that 3P. Are the other teams looking to play for second with KP, or are they trying to go for the haymaker and win the game? Orgless and Hungry, however, looking very likely to win game or match number 1 with the addition of the new legend Axel. Gonna be fun to see how they execute this.
That knock is big. Zobo opening things up. Another one of these would surely seal the deal in the favor of Orgless and Hungry as the Horde have lost 2. It is time to snap the trap closed. Horde are out and Orgless and Hungry take the game easily from out from under them.
I mean, zoomed in on Axel, they did. Immediately, one of the 4 teams to play the new legend, with the addition of Fricks to the roster as well. Sampe Taxiting standing tall with that results of all the practice they've been putting in now. Wins match number 1. Very happy to see that, actually, because now, you know, you have a good start. And if they can keep this up now, they might even have a few bad games in between. They're still sitting in a really good spot to make the comeback that they need.
Well, fellas, we have a really...
Is the meta?
Just saying, guys, we have a really great start to this one, and honestly, it was kind of surprising to you. I want to get your thoughts now that we have a chance to take it back. I know you were looking at it. We come in expecting a lot of Axel. We don't see much of it, but then Orgless and Hungry, the team actually playing it, gets the win. I mean, just what does that mean to you as we kick off today?
I think it was perfectly exemplified by what we were talking about just leading up to that fight, that it really came down to timing, as it so often does in these final circles. And Axel may have even more value later in the game than she does earlier. We talk about the rotation potential, but when it comes down to the majority of Apex being played in close quarters, those final seconds mean so much, and Axel makes the best of it.
Well, that's awesome. I mean, I'm excited about this one, and I think this is also a great start, graceful for EMEA. Crypto will be banned, though, so that should open up a little bit of a play style, but we weren't too surprised to see some of the players up on this list. I mean, you could see the Horde, obviously, coming into 3rd. This is a team that we haven't talked as much about to start the day, but still a very big threat, and a team that is going to be looking to perform this afternoon.
Yeah, most definitely a team that has that presence that everybody knows of. But I definitely want to, you know, lean towards Orgless and Hungry. Like we said, you know, oh, they did have a good result. Was it due to that one legend? I think sometimes everything clicks. There was not that many teams on edge. They were one of the teams on edge where that character specifically excels to engage on people, manage to close out that spot, and end in first on match number 1. That's really nice, in my opinion.
Is this another reason that, you know, we feel like something was... I mean, it's too early to tell. Obviously, right, Grace? I mean, about the Matafe switch and whether this is going to stay. This is obviously, though, exactly what you want when you make a switch like this, when you come in with a new legend. It couldn't have gone any better for Orgless and Hungry.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing as well. I even got to scrim with them, with Sampe and Taxington as well. And at that point, Taxington was actually IGLing. He wanted me to trial to IGL. And then when Matafe came in, I assumed that Matafe would IGL. Has this now gone back to Taxington, and that's where they're the most comfortable? Was it just the fact that Fricks is a late bloomer god, that's what the morale team boost, and they're just owning based off of that? There could be many factors. However, I would like to say that Taxington, regardless of, you know, past results or not, is a proven player at this point, and they can pull it off. This is still match number 1, mind you. We can't hype them up too much because anybody can fall flat, but it's a good start.
And this is an interesting chart too. I mean, talk us through this.
Yeah, it's funny. I was thinking we especially can't hype them too much up because E-District isn't even their best map. Like, this was a great start for them, but if we look at the right-hand side, most of their kills and most of their aggression, when we look at the average time that they are picking up their first kill in the game, comes on Olympus. This team is really unleashed there historically, with a lot left to discover about what this new iteration of the roster looks like. I would still imagine that Olympus is where they'll take a huge uptick, which is tough when you think about how on earth you go up from first, but they definitely need it, as Orgless and Hungry are one of the teams on the bubble of qualification that need this weekend to go right.
I I will also say for people that have a tough time, you know, looking at these graphic as well, is that the maps are different entirely, which they should be. Right. You fight way faster on Olympus than you do on Stormpoint, and then especially on E District, because of how much playable area it is, right? So you have to keep in mind that while the average first blood is faster on specific maps, it's also due to the fact that macro either the macro is more the same on specific maps, or it's just way smaller coexisting area to where you're forced to take fights. However, it's a really nice stat to look at for sure.
And you know what, because it's the same team, Grace, it may not be obvious, but this is obviously a team with Matafe that had these numbers. Will it speed up with Fricks reducing his friction playing Axel on this roster coming up? I think it might. But it's great to also notice that this is basically, because it's the same team and we're kind of qualifying for that one variable and we're just saying that's staying the same, you really do get to see the timing of these maps, right? Because you're not anticipating that it's necessarily just because they're bad on E District or they're not as. You get to see how the map has an impact on it. So really cool for those just want to dive into those stats. Some great picks up there. Dia, thanks for tracking those down and our team helping to support that. Guys, let's jump into game 2 because now I cannot wait. Will we see more Axel domination now that Crypto is banned? Will we see more players pick Axel, or will we continue to see a little bit of hesitation from EMEA to fully adopt Apex's newest legend? All we know, however, is Orgless and Hungry, well, they're cooking right now and they're eating well after game 1.
They certainly are. All right. Game 2 on the horizon. E District with a crypto ban, and everybody breathed a sigh of relief. Worldwide, crypto bans after game 1 have been the standard, and I don't know. I mean, with crypto banned now, it changes a decent amount of this game. We're still expecting to see Alter. Caustic can still be relevant, but maybe this opens us up for more Axel.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely does, because you have to remind yourself what crypto actually adds to the game outside of, you know, the unlimited UAV from Narnia, and you're having, you know, free engages with the EMP if you set it up properly. It's kind of like bowling in a bowling alley with the rails up. You know, you feel very safe and cozy. You can't really mess it up too much, you know. Now that he's gone, it's a little bit more, you got to make it on your own, you know. You got to add a little bit of a hook to it to make sure you stay in the middle of the map. Axel can throw that immediately into the to the sides because she's so fast and engaging. I hope we get to see more than just 4 picks than the last match, but I don't think too many are going to change their approach for now. We're going to have to see if people are opting to play counteractively with, you know, maybe the likes of more Watson, or are they gonna stick to it like you said, more Axel, and pray and, you know, put the gas on the pedal and just hope for the best?
You gotta add a little bit more what?
Add more what?
Add more what?
Add more what?
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Somebody clip that. I want to know. I need to study this. As we move into E District again, keep in mind that the zone that we just saw, not the one that I had anticipated seeing, moving us down towards the southeast side of the map. A lot of people, when drafting POIs for this zones, have talked to me about drafting around City Hall, around the center of the map, expecting a lot more northwestern pulls. So this will have been a big change up, even for Orgless and Hungary, making it all the more impressive that they were able to cross the map to find their first win of the day. As we move into our second, what curveballs is E District gonna throw us?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing as well. When we're seeing the picks as well, we still see only, I believe, 2 Axels going into this match right now, and Orgless and Hungry is one of them. So their playstyle shouldn't, even though the map zones, you know, the map being different changes macro initially, that depends on if you're playing Edge, it doesn't really change anything. So we're gonna see if they can keep up that momentum from match number 1. However, other teams, like we said as well, are opting a little bit more. We're seeing a lot of more Maggies, and then the typical, you know, Newcastle Watson is coming out, a little bit of Valky, which I end up enjoying a lot. We talked about how the macro might get changed with that. E District is not one of those maps that get affected by it with the Trident changes. So, seeing a little bit more standard fundamental things here.
With Alter being our most picked legend of the map, she'll be out next. Sampe won't have that option, but moving over to the Seer for Fricks is an interesting choice. Not a lot of people end up going with Seer as soon as Crypto gets banned, because most of the time, his UAV isn't the thing that he's being picked for. Seer and Crypto really not comparable in that way, but still able to get a lot of information. I would say arguably Seer the much, and I mean way more aggressive choice.
I mean, yeah. I mean, we've also seen the different iterations of that with the Axel, that some people play the alter Maggie and Axel, some play Seer instead. So it's just different ways of approaching, of having your fighting prowess go up in different strategies. However, Zone, we're seeing the Zone. Very nice Zone. One of, actually, Draft, one of my favorite POIs on the map. It's going to be fun if the Zone pulls a little bit more towards that area, as Blessed right now in the middle of things, getting thermited. Sanya making sure to get those cells in if he can, as they are repositioning right now with triple white armors. A little bit scary, but Eclipse right now, after that sad match number 1, are a little bit more hungry, and that's the kind of oomph we need to see from them, because they need to up their pacing for sure.
Yeah, you can tell there is a fire lit under Eclipse NEEVEPRO with how fast this rotation is. Round 1's just started closing, and they have already moved from Galleria into the middle of Energy Bank, pushed a team off the ring scan. They need to get things going. They need to get into the center of the map, because there are teams like Novo that may be so unlucky as to not make it. Certainly feeling that right now. Adams, however, does manage to defend for the moment. Still will fall, leaving just Bastate up to defend Novo, to try and survive. And on Caustic, I am not envying him.
He's opting for that reset instead to see. However, it was... Are they getting initiated on another team? No, they get the reset. That's fine. Opting to reposition and see if they can get a full reset, as other teams are also sniffing them out right now. More teams are popping up. Irie not feeling too good about himself, but does get that reset as they are trying to stabilize as much as they can. They do get to the Nexus. No, he does not.
Not even going to be available for a recall as he gets finished off before Zomb manages to finish the Void Nexus journey. That was a tough spot to be caught out in, one that you really can't do if you're not running Baby Comp. With Novo now gone, we have eliminated our first squad with just 2 minutes left on zone close. And Heavener may be our next if they're not careful. They need to find access to a crafter, one actually right in front of them, but then a respawn and a move into zone is necessary.
One team's first blood stats just went up drastically. That first team elimination was really fast, as we're seeing other teams opting to rotate even faster now. We're seeing that trend of people like kind of feeling the game out. We see a lot of more teams actually not in that endgame zone right now. Could be due to where the zone is. However, I think teams are just adapting to say, hey, it seemed like we had 15 teams dead center zone last time, even though it was Humbert Labs. Now we're seeing a lot more teams taking their time, making sure they get that loot before they opt to rotate. Maybe they're playing mid-speed, looking for the next soul knowledge before they opt. We'll have to see, but we're seeing a lot of more teams leveling up their armors.
DSK have their setup around the porta potty in here. Or I guess the bathroom. It is in building. It is in suite. They are playing an extraordinarily defensive game with both Watson, Newcastle, and Valkyrie. This is basically early Baby Comp. It's not exactly the same thing because Gibby gives you a lot of instant safety, but DSK are playing as close to that as they can get. Something that disincentivizes teams from pushing on them to the maximum.
That's the thing. People are playing for that now, especially since this is the last game where Alter is able to play. It's not truly safe yet. When Alter is out of the game, I would say it's as safe as it can get. But while Alter is still active, anything can happen.
3 men get to the top of the bridge. Not a bad place to be, although this is a little further around the edge of zone than they would like. And they've got to be careful because there's kind of a traffic jam happening with this specific zone. Moving into Shipyard Arcade feels a lot more awkward with this ring because the zone is so unlikely to go there, but there's a lot of traffic, especially around the western side, with 3 men, Heavener, Icon, Awakened, and Havoc Legends all piled up in the same position. Right around here, this whole area, really difficult to get through, and Havoc Legends control one of the most important chokes that give you the safety of moving into Shipyard Arcade before eventually entering into where we expect the zone will go.
It's all about timing. How many teams show up from the same side and collapse on that side, as we see only a few teams on the western side of the maps. Most of the teams are actually northeastern side of the maps, as other teams are already dead center around draft point at this point, where the other teams, we saw DSK sitting very happily where one of the zones normally pulls around that area, in that water area. So right, people are playing a lot now. Like, you have to agree, Dia. People play a lot now in all regions in regards to where zones are ending rather than just in buildings, because now we don't see zones end nearly as much on buildings anymore. They're opting for the place that we've been talking about throughout the years, where you should just play to where you're not stuck in an area.
When looking at how to maximize your flexibility in this zone, I really liked Blessed's position as well, as they're just that little bit further south of DSK. They control the choke points that move in from Shipyard Arcade and Street Market into this zone, but that does come, that flexibility, with a little bit of risk, with teams that want to pass you by and that can have their last option be moving through the choke. Orgless and Hungary, with a lot more flexibility right now, coming from the north, have got the Horde right next to them. But both these teams, despite being close, don't actually have to fight. It's much better for Orgless and Hungary and the Horde to ignore each other, get through Energy Bank, and then figure out whether they want to take an engagement.
For sure, they're just sizing each other up at this point, showing their teeth. Hey, don't come our side. However, speaking of showing their teeth, VP right now gets one down from SJP2, one of the teams that got eliminated kind of early in the last game, and now already on the heels again.
We've still got a lot of teams that can survive this, but SJP2 looking the unlikeliest to, as they get sent by Virtus.pro, one of our top performing teams in EMEA, and certainly going to continue that trend today. SJP2 are taken out. Zone 2 is about to close in the next 20 seconds, and Virtus.pro may have already found their next fight with Zipline Mafia right ahead of them.
Prestige just 1v3s casually, as now they're turning towards their back to see if they can take another fight. However, we talked about timing before. Some of the teams right now are rotating in slowly, so make sure you're fighting fast, or make sure that you have an escape route for when you eventually get thirded. Zipline Mafia, however, opting for that rotate instead, which I agree with for sure. They said, hey, we couldn't 3P that fight ended too fast. Let's see if we can find a good spot closer towards the next zone.
And this is a very Orgless and Hungry move from last game. Zipline Mafia are playing slow side of zone. They're actually playing for ring scan right now, moving towards the UAV and the ring console. So Zipline Mafia will have advanced information faster than almost anyone else on the map as to where this ring is going and how they can get in there before anyone else. Team Heretics, a bit disadvantaged as they don't have ring console, they don't have a spot in zone, they don't have a safe way in, and they don't really have a rotational tool to make this happen either. Alter, for as strong as she is, can't get you to somewhere that she hasn't been yet.
Yeah, most definitely. Even then, you might be able to pass through walls, but you got to get up close and personal before you get to that point. Heretics right now sitting on, is that 0 points I see right now? That's only after match 1 though, so it's not over yet. Got to make sure that you can get some points on that leaderboard, whether that be by getting some KP or placement points. Right now, playing a little bit slow.
Yeah, Heretics have put themselves in the position where now they're in the conversation with the Horde, with Orgless and Hungry, with 3 men. All the teams that were coming from the north earlier still going to be there. But around Energy Bank, that question becomes all the more pressing. Which of them will be the last to survive? As Energy Bank gets tighter and tighter, we've got a great overhead shot of how Orgless and Hungry get to overlook all of this and police the entrance to Draft Point.
That's the thing. They're opting to see where teams are rotating in from. Is there anybody we can just hold at a choke? Or are we able to 3P anything on that side? As we see them right now staring at the Horde as Elite is moving. Probably not into them. Yep, they're facing straight through the wall to make sure they might opt into one of the solo members of Virtus.pro. That would be a really bad catch for them. However, on the flip side of things right now, fight breaks out a little bit here as Fricks is just holding down the ground.
Orgless and Hungry have made the aggressive move to play for points to try and pick a fight. It's a great job from the Horde to defend this, and it's worth noting, as you mentioned, that Virtus.pro could have gotten involved as well. This could have been to the detriment of both squads. You can't play with perfect information, but I like that even without it, Orgless and Hungry are willing to take risks. It does, however, cost them their spot, as Team Heretics now hold height over Orgless and Hungry, who, with their bloodthirst, with that risk, may have cost themselves their future rotation.
Indeed, opted to fight that, but the fight didn't break out properly. Came back a little bit too late as Heretics takes the height right now, is holding them out to see if they can make something happen here, because fighting uphill here is incredibly hard, but the one character that can make that happen is probably Alter, so we'll have to see if they can figure something out. But we can't forget 3 men on the far western side of these things. If they go through the same choke, because there's plenty of teams getting held everywhere, this could get messy real quick.
2 seconds left on zone close. We're going to have to make decisions. We're going to have to take fights soon. Team Heretics really uncertain whether they want to be the ultimate gatekeepers. Comes with a lot of risk, but oh man, the reward is so sweet. Having to go through Turbine, a difficult cost to incur. We've got teams taking alternate approaches to this as well. 3 men, don't want to fight anybody, don't want to deal with anything, and they're already on baby comp this early into the match. Maggie's still in the lobby, but you give me bubble down there, and anybody who's bagging at you they've got their priorities mixed up.
Really well-paced Valcolt, I gotta say. They were in a tough spot, landed very smoothly. Nobody engages on them, even though there's plenty of teams to harass them. Get a great spot, and now they're feeling really good about their positioning leading into the next zone potentially. Citadel Gaming, however, one of the teams to play here very early, I would say, is feeling good about this as they predicted this zone to move more towards the water side. Pulls a little bit off of them, but they should be able to engage on teams eventually. And we know Citadel Gaming has more than enough firepower to take out teams as well.
Virtus.pro have been accruing momentum during this game. Took out Orgless in Hungary moments ago, and Team Heretics are looking to draw blood once again. Heavener Icon will fall, and interestingly enough, that's ECLIPSE NEEVEPRO. They get a piece of that action with Uchaka showing up in the kill feed, so finally getting some points on the board this time around, turning their game around from the first one. Citadel Gaming landed abduct and actually find the one clip. Stagga does fall, and Citadel want to get aggressive on this. Zuni got to go through the wall to finish off the kill. Starts to, but gets one clipped himself. Excuse me.
Citadel Gaming plays underneath right now of Stagga and the boys, and they try to punish them. Zipline Mafia says not on ours, in our sides right now. They're trying to join the fray, see if they can get any KP on the matter. It gets so messy. Everybody's resetting at this point. They do get it down on remix. Can't get the thirst though, as everybody's feeling kinda, and now they got down.
Zipline Mafia do have the retreat, though. They can get recalled at any time.
What is happening?
I'd like to see that happen right now. Excuse actually goes inside and gets taken out. What a misstep right into the abduct. Citadel Gaming, despite being the ones who started the fight, who looked for the kills, who looked like they were in the most trouble, they end up being the ones chilling on the bottom floor again with one more point to their name.
How did Zipline Mafia end up fighting both teams, get down by both of them? And then, I mean, it is what it is. Citadel Gaming feeling very happy about that, even after they get down pretty early after that initial knock. Now, Awaken feeling good in the next zone. Are gonna have to opt a little bit deeper, actually. They are gonna be playing in that river, but there was another team lurking. Citadel Gaming still looking to engage if they can, but other teams are looking at them to see if they can interrupt, potentially find a KP. One team immediately Valcolt straight underneath the bridge, landing on a team. As we see Elsor in play, finally!
We're seeing a little bit of this right now. We've got to talk about it when we get the chance to get minimap up. The ForFun position. This bridge in this game, one of the most important things to fight over. ForFun currently have high ground, but the Horde, Blessed can all contest for it right now. And those who run the bridge will win the game.
That's the thing. Once you get that high ground, you get to overlook everybody. Make sure that your backs are cleared. You get the free shoot on everybody. KP is gonna rain in for you, as we see ForFun right now shooting at absolutely everybody. I believe it was Tyler with that L-Star as well. So we're gonna have to see if he can make something happen with that weapon. It's gonna be fun to see for sure.
Breach charge online again. The chance to take a few of these caustics out, make their life a little bit harder, but Virtus.pro unfortunately dealing another deadly blow nearly to ECLIPSE NEEVEPRO. Reset inside of here won't be punished by ForFun, who really would like to get involved in the fight for this RV, but can't afford to just yet. The high ground, though, increasingly focused, with Virtus.pro and ForFun wanting to fight each other, but not being able to afford to.
This is the thing. Tyler is making sure they're trying to hold the bridge down as well. As the drill is not enough to take him down just yet. Nag's feeling a little bit scared, but gets that reset. Is really good for them. Are gonna opt to see if they can hold VP off this bridge, because it's gonna come down to a 3v3. But are they gonna get thirded or not? Because the altar is in the game. Anybody can pop up on that bridge at any point.
This L-Star, still plenty of munitions left in it, but ForFun need to find an angle. Right now, they just don't have one. It's VP that is controlling all of the sight lines, and ForFun have very little space to play. Newcastle ult backwards actually buys them some space as Awakened will fall, moving us down to just 12 squads left. Almost half the lobby is out.
The fight early we saw from Citadel right now have been making a mess for everybody. They're walking in towards now to the zone, gets into the build. No, on top of the hype, they get watched and trapped right now. We're gonna go down one floor by one to see if they can find any playable area. Remix Power tries to slam and get the reset. Huge slam though, however, he should not be able to stabilize this as they have to opt to take that out. And no, it disappears right in front of him.
Kaisha's still alive though, off the back of that reset. He gets a corner of this building to himself. Watson fences and pylon down. Kaisha has to hold it down for the rest of the team, especially as Elite will go down. Every point, every placement matters. Kaisha can win them some points just by staying alive.
That's the thing though, you're playing Alter hoping you get something, but if that something is Watson fence, it's gonna be a bad time to face through the wall or floors. Virtus Pro managed to hold this bridge for the moment, feeling very good about that, as ForFun is not contesting them for this spot right now.
No, ForFun have found themselves in the awkward position of being underneath Virtus Pro. Virtus Pro won the fight for the bridge. I would argue that it's the wrong side of the bridge. It's the other side that Blessed currently have that looks a lot better. And Virtus Pro are going to try and get fancy with it to find some kills and make this a whole lot easier. Dropping down as 3, they're going to trade places with Sinetic, taking the deadliest elevator in Apex Legends to finally finish off ForFun.
VP has been looking stellar this game when they started with that 1v3 essentially from Prestige, making sure to get that KP on the board now, continuing to clean up that side from that bridge, but Zone is already moving. We saw the Horde as well. One of the teams we talk about presence in the game are in a great spot right now, but 7 teams alive means several teams have to walk in once this building is not in the zone. Virtus Pro feeling a little bit happy because they're on the slow end of the things, but they're only a duo. Get this reset potentially.
ECLIPSE NEEVEPRO finally going down. Notice that VP are playing so small, though. This could be the very thing that turns the game around for them. And much like last time, it will be about who is most patient, Grace. Will it be Blessed? Will it be VP that avoid the fight right now? Blessed are expending a cooldown, actually putting themselves right in VP's face.
This is the thing, they can't really engage on VP because they're getting shot from that building as we just saw right there. That L-Star singing as Bless gets taken out. VP still alive actually. Might be able to opt for something as other teams are going to have to rotate before them or going to get dropped on by another Valkyrie team. Getting slid on by Blast. Blast is looking to clean this fight up right now. They actually get a spot. They take their spot.
Everybody hates VP. Everybody is jumping on top of the squad. The Horde has decided to pick a fight, and finally VP are out. Gamin Gladiators stabilize on the low ground, and with this L-Star, may just be able to heat the lobby up enough. 4 squads, 3 squads left as 3 men go down. Well, Gibby Bubble will buy you time, but GG are not interested in letting you have it. In comes Zane, flying with the L-Star, and again, will take the lobby to the kitchen and get Gamin Gladiators their first win of the day.
Zane popping off the same way he does on Lance with that L-Star. To be fair, he was absolutely mopping everyone right there. GG made the play to leave the absolute high ground, to take that spot from VP, where they were initially playing in that river, where they got to take over from Blessed, to make sure that they're not on the same side as everybody from the building collapsing. They managed to clear out their side, join and fight that bubble where we saw Zane just absolutely pop off, get every KP, and then just cleans up that last fight. They played phenomenally that game. That was the decision of an IGL that knows what's the win condition. We cannot play from the same side as everybody. We're taking our steps, and it just paid off insanely.
Yeah, I mean, it really... benefit of oversight, benefit of the L-Star as well, to be honest. I can't think of a scarier combination than giving one of the top fraggers in EMEA an L-Star, an Alter, and saying, go get him. Go enjoy the rest of your time on E-District. Now, Alter won't be joining us for the next game, so the rest of the lobby, you'd think we'll have a break from Zane, but I'm honestly a little more afraid of him switching to Maggie.
I mean, yeah, definitely. I think it doesn't really matter what character Zane is on. He's gonna pop off regardless. But 15 kills right there. Actually, totally right now. Series results, 18 kills for Gaming Gladiators, sitting very comfortably on 32. That's normally what we say is, you know, 30-35 is where the top 10 is gonna be, and they're already that in match 2. 4 more games to go. Is looking really good, but we can't count out the other teams that are very narrowly right underneath them. 25, 23, 22, 20. All of them more than have the potential to dethrone the current #1.
Gaming Gladiators currently being in first. Infinite are having a really good series as well, despite some of the doubts that I'd expressed around their rotations with VP right next to them. We haven't seen a whole lot of Infinite. They've been pretty quiet despite their success. But if you want to catch a glimpse of what these teams are doing, those teams that are slipping past the radar, that are making the unexpected plays that might not be the flashiest, but are the smartest in the game, you can catch all of those at algs.ea.com at Multiview. Our newest feature that we demoed in Season 28 is reaching maturity in Season 29 and is able to bring you all of the best plays at your discretion.
I mean, definitely. We're gonna have to go back to that, as everybody's definitely making sure to find that one player that fits you the most. But before we find our players that I want to see in our next match, we're gonna take a little bit of a break. So make sure you get some snacks, come back and relax, and get ready for some more Apex.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Hey everyone, it's Dia here, and I've got a very special update to share with you all. Heading into Year 6, the ALGS team have been working hard behind the scenes to make the viewing experience better than ever. Let me show you around the newest addition to the ALGS website, the ALGS Multiview. After signing in with your EA account, you'll be able to watch up to 12 streams at once during every single ALGS event. Each team has its own dedicated observer and comms that you can listen to. Viewers will even be able to vote for which player's POV they want to watch. You can customize your layout, add custom Twitch streams, and even draw over them with built-in tools. Team and individual stats will be easily accessible in the sidebar, updating in real time. And just like on Twitch, you can clip your favorite moments as they happen. And yes, you are still eligible for Twitch drops. Now keep in mind that the ALGS Multiview tool is still in beta, so as we continue improving the experience, we want your feedback. Please share it using the button that you'll find in the bottom right of your screen. Now this tool is free to use, and it'll be available for every single ALGS event. So log on, find your favorite POVs, and tune in for the best viewing experience that ALGS has to offer.
Welcome back to the ALGS. We are here ready to take on Game 3. And Graceful, you know, one of the things that I've seen so far is that we have almost had had a surge of energy from teams that need it. I mean, you look at Gamin Gladiators, I mean, they've been performing well. Obviously, they're a Group A team. They know that they've got to get as many points as possible in these next 2 days to secure their spot. But we've also just seen this, like, I think in a weird way, hesitation to fully commit to the Axels, but we're still seeing that dominance from the players who can utilize it well. And that kind of goes to the bigger conversation we're having, which is EMEA maybe staying a little bit more patient, maybe more reluctant to fully adopt something that, unless they know they can really win with it, they'd rather run something that's more comfortable.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes that new legend shift could be the change that you need. Orgless and Hungry have been performing on it so far today on 23 points, but other teams are playing a little bit more reluctantly. I'm a firm believer of balance is everything, because throwing haymakers is good when it pays off, but if it's just 5 bad games for that one good game, it's a risky bet to take. And now that we have this, EMEA has been known for playing a little bit more moderately, I would say. So not out of the ordinary in my opinion, but the teams that have been picking it has been excelling.
And you can see the legend composition right here for match day 7. We're seeing mostly the Alter, Caustic, Crypto then banned. And then we're obviously going to be seeing the Alter banned here. So out of our top 6, 5 of those compositions include Alter, 2 of them include Crypto. What we'll probably start to see is a shift towards either that baby comp jumping up with Watson pairing nicely with that Valkyrie maybe coming in, Grace. But again, this could also lead to maybe some more Axels coming in with people feeling like, well, this is still an opportunity to take advantage of some movement now that we've got Alter, who is a legend people primarily use to move their team, taken out of the mix.
Yeah, because Alter is also one of those characters that is able to, if you're getting absolutely sent, Alter is able to have you have more options going through a wall to survive or even stall the fight to where other things can happen. Now that you're set as well, people are opting for maybe that Valkyrie compositions potentially. I think that's something we're going to see way more on other maps like Olympus and then Stormpoint, because that's where macro gets affected way more than on E-District. E-District, phenomenal map, beautiful map, but it's so big and open-ended where there's like 50 different ways. You don't really get stuck anywhere in chokes, so you have a lot of more leeway to not need that Valkyrie. But we're gonna have to see if they opt up for a little bit more what should I say, comfort picks or not. We shall see.
I agree with you, and I think Valkyrie for some reason is picked as less of a standard on this map, and I don't know if it has to do with just those open spaces or if it has to do with so much of this map is multi-dimensional, multi-layered, opposed to a map like Stormpoint, which was very wide but played mostly on the ground, a few moments in buildings. This has many layers to it. Valkyrie excels when she can fly up, land on somebody, or find a little niche spot. When she has to fly up and land on top of a building and a team's already there, it's not the same level of easy opportunity to take to have success with a character that excels so much at navigating the wide open spaces many people may not be able to reach. And in this situation, as we take a look at some of the team compositions, we'll get an eye to see if Valkyrie is getting picked up. And as of now, yes, Zane has opted into the character, giving a little bit more movement. And going to our winners of game 2, Gamin Gladiators will add the Watson to what is the standard. When I think of Gamin Gladiators, Grace, I don't know about you, I think of Newcastle. I think their biggest success has come from Newcastle Catalyst as a meta, and I feel like this is just a character that fits really well with how Blast and Lufka like to play.
Yeah, I mean, I think that so far, when you've had the games, like I would almost say that any iteration of Crypto in the game or of Alter is the most volatile. And if you can succeed in those 2 matches before they get banned, now is kind of a smooth sailing for all the teams that have that experience. Like you said, like you're thinking about them when you're thinking about the comp. They're gonna feel a lot more comfortable because this is essentially you're playing on your home field at that point.
Yeah, I mean, we have this conversation. We had a little bit of that conversation earlier, and I've been hinting at it with my conversations around Axel. But comfort is a big deal, and coming into a split where you're trying to figure things out, let alone with a new squad. Being comfortable is important, and playing comfort picks is important rather than optimizing yet, because you're trying to get into a rhythm. And obviously that is big for Gamin Gladiators. They've been able to do that after probably a disappointing back half of last year. Great start for them here, and after Axel seemed to be not losing any speed whatsoever. Citadel Gaming, also a team that's got a lot of potential.
Yeah, most definitely. They have been popping off, and people have they're put up high on I would say not leaderboards, but tier list for a reason. They're able to make those plays happen, and they have been consistently so far now as well, feeling good about themselves for this game at least. Other teams, however, are playing kind of the same way we're expecting. And at this point, Rain, would you say when you're at the point, when you're on the cusp of either not making PL again, or you're barely making finals, or you're just in the middle of the pack, are you going to stick to the same game? Like, this is a question we always pop up, especially on LAN. Are you going to stick to the same game plan you've been practicing for the longest time, or do you need to throw a haymaker to shake things up because you need something to change the tide?
I'm always a fan of, if it's not working, do something else. And if it works, work it. That is, to me, always how I've looked at sports and competition. And I think in esports as well, it's difficult because there's so much of the analytics that go into it. There's so much of the digital element of it. But if you're a real person and you guys are running a play in a basketball game or a soccer game or whatever it is, and the person keeps blocking your shot, I mean, eventually you're gonna be like, hey, let's shoot a three. Let's run a different play. Like, this isn't working right here. And it's sometimes harder to tell that when stats are showing you one thing, or you're like, we just need to maximize this, and my ability usage was wrong. The reality is, if it's not working, I think you do have to make an adjustment, especially if you're there. What becomes harder, though, Grace, and I think that's what you're hinting on as well, is when it's close to working and close to not. It's like in that little gray area of it could almost work. I'm still a believer that you've got to not acknowledge that something needs to change, because the goal isn't to just barely succeed. The goal is to win. That's the role of a battle royale. You got to win, or you go again. And I think that is what all these teams need to be aiming for. So that would be my take. And I'd suggest, obviously not in the seats of these players, that, hey, ultimately, if you're looking to be successful beyond just showing up to a tournament, you got to think that way.
I definitely agree that, you have to find. There's only so many times you can headbutt the wall before your head starts bleeding. You got to make a different play to make sure that you break that wall and make it further ahead. However, we have to see now. Some teams are feeling really good about this zone, as the zone is finally on the opposite side of the ends. One was southeast, one was a little bit more in the middle or southern side of the map, and now we're on the northwest side of things. Is this going to shake things up for how teams play out the game? It's going to be fun to see for sure. SJP2, one of the teams that we said as well, need to make a splash, or honestly a splash. They gotta drop a humongous bomb at this point. Currently sitting on 20th right now. Not feeling good about those two previous games. Have to pull something out this game.
Oh, they need more than a rabbit out of the hat here. Sitting with 29th position, and I mean, just really not figuring out how to get these points in alignment with what they want to do as a team. 10 points so far in the split. Remember, 9 is the cutoff. That's sitting at 49 right now. Granted, 2 big wins on the day. That's 25 and 25. That puts them at 59. That is still, that's still only 6th place as it stands. So not only have they work cut out for them, man, they need a little bit more than a miracle. And SJP2 will be certainly sending it, because they know they've got a big dream to try to accomplish here. No hesitancy or playing it safe from them. You mentioned that northern zone. It has pulled up top. All the teams still finding their way towards it. 20 squads left, Grace. We haven't lost one. The Horde and 3 men trailing the farthest south to try to make it in there. Citadel Gaming sitting nice and inside that zone on the southwestern side. May run into 3 men or ForFun Esports as they eventually get in there, but there's plenty of time before these teams have to make a move.
Yeah, most definitely. Citadel Gaming playing very textbooky, as they have been so far. Not really opting to play in a spot where they're just praying the zone ends on them, but spots where they can make plays happen. And wow, have they done that. Because even on that game 1, or match 1, where it ended on the southeast of Humbert Labs, you heard their comms when we had that listening.
Yeah.
Just swing left, we gotta take the fight. We're playing for kills essentially, and it paid off really big. And you gotta have that presence of mind to be able to decide when, hey, it's a tough rotation for us. Let's just see if we can get any points on the board. And when you have that and you keep putting up points on the board, you're gonna end up in a way better spot than just throwing it all, betting it all on one spot.
When you're playing at a high level in battle royales, they have very much a similar quality to playing a roguelike, where you're not deciding between what you ultimately want to do. You're given 2 choices. Hey, we got a team here, a team there. What's the best choice I can make? that will ultimately help my overall game plan. It's very, very good to practice that type of skill and decision making. And the IGLs that can do it, Grace, I mean, they're the ones that stand atop the rest. We talk about them consistently. And Citadel Gaming's put themselves in a great spot to be there as a team. Of course, ForFun now just holding down this building again on that southwest side, very close to Citadel, I believe. And going to set up with that Newcastle. Nags on the bottom has been feeling great with this new team. We talked to him at LAN several years ago. He's been trying to find his way off of FaZe Clan into a roster that's really worked. He's stuck with Sinetic. They've got ForFun here going on the, you know, and really rocking in business, I think. Grace, how do you feel about this team? I've always liked Nags as a player. I've always liked Sinetic's story. How do you feel they've come together as a roster here for ForFun?
Love Nax as a player and as a friend, I would say. Met him a lot on LAN and been talking to him a lot. And, you know, even Tyler, I played briefly with Tyler as well. Tyler and Jake at that point when I teamed up with them. And players that everybody knows, and we've seen Tyler perform on LAN even when he subbed as well. Like, we know that all of these players have that quality in them, that they are world-class players and they can have the results, but it's always been something keeping them back. And is this iteration of the team now gonna be enough for them? You know, we'll have to see for sure, but the sparks are there. All it takes is just a small ignition for it to start, and then they might roar.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of looked at when Tyler came onto the scene, and he's somebody I didn't mention, but he just deserves to talk about his story a little bit. You know, was kind of looked at the duo with Unlucky. Him and Unlucky were just two fraggers, and then they split. Unlucky kind of got his moment. He went to, you know, the top tier team and has had top tier success, has won a LAN, and been able to be at really the highest level of Apex ever since then. Tyler, different journey, has found his way on several teams, not quite made the fit. ForFun now, a little bit of a redemption arc for him. He may not have a chip on his shoulder because he's been well regarded throughout the scene. Things haven't worked. It hasn't been a bad blood issue, but he's definitely a guy that, you know, if you look at him trading places with Unlucky, maybe that could have been Tyler's story on Alliance, and it wasn't. So can he make his own story here, really dominate EMEA, maybe make his entrance to the world stage here coming up on LAN? That's certainly what ForFun Esports are trying to get out of him.
Yeah, most definitely. I think that we'll have to see, because at the end of the day, there's only so many times you can hype. Like we've said the uncrowned king for drop from Americas. We've said from EMEA we have Tyler. We can have we have Zane. We have so many players that we've always been hyping up. But at the end of the day, the only person who writes your story is you yourself, your decisions, your choices. And if they can make those decisions themselves, the way, hey, was it worth sticking out with this team even though the results wasn't good for maybe a month, and then eventually they popped off later on. We've seen several teams stuck it out through thick and thin, eventually come out on top, and then stuff happens. Or are you going to be a player that ends up swapping a lot of rosters? It's going to be a lot harder to find that deep success that stays, you know?
Yeah, of course. Well, interrupting our Apex podcast here. Still 20 teams alive. I feel like we've been talking for 15 minutes. It's not our fault. These players are just sitting in here, not doing anything. The first team goes down, and it's Orgless and Hungry right out the gate. So we go from 0 to 100, and we lose game one's winner.
Not only that, but SJP2, the one team, like you said, hey man, they just gotta drop 25-25. This is a great start for them. Get some KP on that board. Get some confidence back. You know, after 2 bad games and you go start in match number 3 with a couple of KP, is always gonna feel good about them. Hopefully this gets the ball rolling.
As Citadel Gaming make their way in, look like a Wraith portal there. And it was from Zuni. Remix Powers and Kaisha find him back. There's a Newcastle wall. Is it a bit late, though? It is. Remix is going to go down to that. I think it's a Maggie drill that ends up doing the final bit of damage, as well as some pressure here from Volgraph. Citadel Gaming in trouble. They've lost their Newcastle. That's the one player you want to stay up alive, and they're going to go down completely. My goodness. I think that might have been Virtus Pro who was coming in and messing with them. SJP2 also go down after that initial fight with Orgless and Hungry. So just in a flash, Grace, we lose 3 teams.
That's the thing, though. I mean, let's be honest. VP wiping teams left and right is nothing. Everybody was, you know, they're not shocked about it. SJP2, the team that we thought had the ball rolling, gets eliminated. It's going to be a really tough uphill battle for them for the rest of this series. However, 17 teams alive. Zone is closing now. We also know, by the way, after this game, Valkyrie is banned, I believe.
Yeah.
So teams that have free macro for the moment with that character is going to have a little bit tougher time. But the next maps is going to be Olympus. So hopefully they can make something happen. I wonder if we're going to see a little bit more Axel or something. But you have a ton of different options on other maps. So
well, I think, yeah, I do think it'll be more of like a reduction to Axel in EMEA. It'll be more of like, all right, we finally exhausted all of our comfort picks. Like, let's take a little bit of a risk because this is the best case scenario. Again, kind of like the roguelike decision making. This is the best choice that we have out of the choices that have been given to us with these characters banned that we'd rather play. And so I do feel she'll probably come out later. But again, we were surprised earlier today. We'll have to stay tuned. EMEA maybe shocking us a little bit with their hesitance to pick up the newest legend. Most likely we'll see plenty of her in the Americas in a few hours after this if you're watching. So keep staying tuned. More Axel gameplay coming at you. 16 squads currently still left. This zone very, very, very small for how many squads are alive. Fourth round about to end, heading into our fifth round. It's pulled to the left, so we're going to see maybe 9 teams have to make that switch. Currently only 5 in zone right now. Heaven or Novo, Gamin, Gladiators, the Horde, and Elite. So it's going to be a lot of contests on this rotate, Grace. How are you feeling this is going to work for these teams?
I mean, this zone has historically been on plenty of lands. I'm not going to lie. For this zone, Heretics now always in the water. So many teams are fighting for stuff. It's going to be absolute mayhem. Virtus Pro sitting right now in second. Huge spray by Prestige. He's been performing so well today from that casual 1v3 essentially to keep putting up numbers. 1.4k damage right now. He's been singing with that R9. However, other teams are already fighting for that water side that I just talked about. It's going to be tough because now there's only 15 teams alive. If there's more, they kind of hold each other out. But the more the teams thin out, the more you allow teams to hold space and start poking teams that normally they wouldn't be able to.
Now you can see ForFun in a great spot there. They're snuggled up with their new castle near the water and have plenty of protection. Infinite down low, trying to make sure they don't get aggressed on from up above. Currently a little out of zone, but they can play this and they'll have some movement options. They just do not want to take the ire from the team up on top of the staircase. So they're going to try to play space as much as they can. Headshot still holding down that high ground, trying to poke. It is a game of numbers. However, they don't want to push until they have an advantage because Headshot's still working on blue, and they realize that purple's down below, plus some very tanky players, and just the pressure alone is going to force Infinite to move. They have a little bit of an angle, but they know they just cannot play there for long, and they're going to make a bigger rotation. Vizarone jumping into the portal. Yikui going to follow along as well. Headshot will make their way on the outskirts of this fight and now approach into Heavener, who's getting a little bit of the ire here from Irie as he falls down to just 1 shield cell's worth of shield and is trying to pop a battery to get back up. So far, lost only 1 team in this rotation, but plenty more to go down very soon.
Sitting in between 2 teams currently, Heavener right now, Mamma Mia and Havoc Legends are poking each other at that point. Are they able to clean up their side? If they can clean up their side, this could evolve into something good for them. However, teams are opting to take space rather than opting for that fight, so we'll see. Other teams are fighting for the bridge currently as Gaming Gladiators in that next zone, feeling very comfortable about themselves right now as 3 men is on top of that bridge shooting everybody. At this point now, though, everybody has so much space, nothing's going to happen really until the next zone closes realistically. Yeah. But JQ in that kill feed lighting some things up.
Getting some damage from the R9. What a good weapon. It's great to have that back in the meta after last season getting that buff and bringing it to attention again. Havoc Legends, we've seen their rotation up on top with Headshot, but Headshot gets taken down right there as well. Weak also finds Phoenix up on top from Zipline Mafia. They get the kill onto him, and so Havoc Legends realize they lost the Watson. Let's not lose anymore. They've got a Gibraltar and a Valkyrie. That's enough to maybe, just maybe, stay alive, find some placement kills. Gaming Gladiators, though, dominating in this higher level of this building, and they do not want to give it up. They're centered in with a Watson, and they are looking good with that reinforced glass and those fences. So going to be happy for GG. Anybody trying to press them right now is going to find a world of trouble. And Heretics taken up to the sky, but it's going to get reset, or they're going to cancel that and rotate outward.
Gets canceled. They're gonna have to fight their way in instead, as they have a few teams in front of them. Huge Kraber shot goes through the wall right there by Cos with that Kraber. See if he almost hits the jump shot as well. Are they gonna clean? They should clean this up, really. Realistically, they need to be sending it on a 3-2-1 triple swing. Let's see if they end up sending this bubble, as they're gonna have to fight for something. Oh, they're just eating everything.
Wow. Wow. And you know what? That's the hesitation right there. It wasn't a good swing. They had to run into some extra damage. They couldn't get the battery off. But then they have to take a full defensive bombardment. Now, can they reset? That's the question. That team does die. Seems like Heavener's not going to push this, so maybe it was the right calculation. Uh-oh. There's a team coming in now from on top of the wall. It may not last for too long. This could just be a delayed problem there for them, but we'll see. Elite EU definitely going to try to peek their head out and finish off that team if they can. As Henchman going over to the right side to try to maybe help out with the Hemlock. Light sees them. Yeah, this is going to be not long for Team Heretics. This Light cleans them up with the Hemlock.
Elite, however, feeling really good about their bridge that they get to shoot at absolutely everybody. Light takes down some Bare in that kill feed right now. Getting it, like, they're adding on to with the KP and damage as well. Making sure that, like, thinning out the lobby right now. Making sure that they have a safe route in as they pick up more KP right now. 3 KP on that team, right? Yeah, feeling good about them. Next point up as well. Placement points.
6th place overall, and EMEA, Elite EU, trying to add to that tally, secure their spot. We talked about how you need big games from our bottom teams. Well, they just need probably one big day to almost guarantee that they're going to make that top 9. That's what they're fighting for. They know it. ForFun Esports as well. This is a team that is in 2nd place overall. They have been phenomenal this season, and 3rd place overall, excuse me. 69 points coming into it, 26 here, a big win. That would put them at the top of the table. Can Tyler find it? Sinetic peeking up with the Hemlock, goes back down. They're going to wait this one out. 6 squads left. It's dropped from that 15 just a minute ago. Down so quickly, as we're now down to our final zone, most likely here. And the team's going to have to duke it out.
This is the most fun I've seen so far, when people are already set up with their Watson, with their Newcastle, to fight for the same corners. They have to make the plays. Are we going to swing this? Are we going to wipe them out? Or are we just going to hold our ground right now, as Elite EU is getting absolutely bombarded? They do have a Watson gen and a Newcastle to see if they can survive, but Henchman goes down.
Oh, Elite EU going to have to back off here. They lose Kinda as well. Should be the end of Light. He's going to escape, but where is he going? Into more defensive bombardments. Cannot imagine he survives much longer, and he won't. Elite EU goes out just like that. ForFun Esports still alive, though. The story of Tyler. Gaming Gladiators are also doing a kind of a funky Wraith portal just to stay alive, but ForFun, they lose their Newcastle as well. It's been the story of the day. The Newcastle going down first, but what can Sinetic do up in the skies? Nobody looking in that high dimension. Lands on the pole. He's just gonna wait it out here. No one's looking at him. It's a moment for Sinetic. Cannot peek out too high. Cannot let many teams know where he is. He's almost single-handedly finishing off the Horde. It's got to be the end of Sinetic. He goes up again, and he's still alive. And no one is looking at him. 5 squads left. Surely he is going to die here. He lands on the pole again. Oh, he can't keep getting away with this. Sinetic, there's no way.
Fights for it as well.
And he finally dies. GG will fall also. And it is a Valkyrie. It's just a different one from the Horde that takes the win. But hats off to Sinetic. Boy, oh boy, that guy almost wrote a side story that was worth following. It was going to be a spin-off series soon.
If he wipes the team down below, that could have been a clip of this league for sure. Stain, however, dethrones him, comes from up high as well to say, hey, that lamp looked really good right now, tries to fight for it. Horde, however, one of the teams we talked about that has that presence, right, have been showcasing that they are more than capable of closing out the games.
You know, Horde was the team he was shooting at, and I feel like maybe they just looked at him and I don't know what happened here. I'm sitting in the same spot, but I don't know. But you know what ended up going? Hey, what's up, everybody? How we doing? How we doing? One of the things that I thought was interesting about the way that they showed up was the fact that, you know, they're like, hey, looking at him, hey, that guy was shooting at us, but he's up in the air. That's a good strategy. Let's just jump up in the air too. And it ends up getting the win for the Horde. Obviously a team I've been watching pretty heavily graceful, and there's a good reason why here. But you might be surprised with the way that they've, you know, kind of been performing throughout the season. In 10th place, very close race between 10th and 6th. There's only 6 points that separate them. So despite being a great team, they need this to really isolate them in the front of the pack and secure qualification for LAN.
Yeah, I mean, as you said as well, you've been watching them for a while. I've been playing alongside them in the past, and now they're still taking those numbers up. And if they can keep up the form as well, you know, this is one of the teams that people wouldn't be shocked to see on LAN, right?
Right.
So having them perform and win out this match number 3 is nothing out of the ordinary, but it's a pleasant view to see.
Yeah, and you know, I think obviously, you know, this is a team with Group A, and they're in 10th place right now. They've got 2 more games to go. I feel like after this, if they're in 3rd, that would make sense for me. That would look like probably around I would say like a 3rd place today. And if they can get a 3rd place today, they're pretty much looking close to 3rd. Even a 2nd place, I think, would bump them up into 3rd for sure. But they'll be close to Alliance, who are sitting at 68 points. And that's assuming ForFun Esports doesn't continue to be impressive this afternoon. You know, we've got a great show so far. We've got a great little halftime as well. When we come back, we've got some guests. Mark Gibson and CCC Ivan are joining us in the team. So stay tuned. We'll be right back for our halftime show. Red Bull is giving wings to the ALGS and the Apex community.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Welcome back to the ALGS. My name is Randy. I'm joined by Dia and Graceful. This is our halftime portion of the show. We just had a lot of fun. 3 games on E-District. We're switching maps soon. But of course, every single broadcast, we have to take a little bit of a break, have some halftime, let the players reset mostly, and then us fill some time and have some fun with you guys. But we like to do it in a way that adds to the community, and that's why we've been bringing on each halftime, each start of these shows to do ideas, new ways of people who are really deserving, I would put it that way, of highlights because they are bringing something to the ecosystem, to the community of Apex. We've had chances to talk with his and hers. We've seen community figures across the board, and now we have a chance to talk to some other great members of our esports community who have put together things not just on screen so that it sounds good and it's fun to hear when you see competitive action, but also the ecosystem and the infrastructure for players to jump into that competitive action. Of course, I'm talking about Ivan from CCE and Mark Gibson. Thank you guys both for joining us. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you very much for having us. Thank you so much for having us. This is awesome. A little bit nervous, but it's really cool. Honored to be here.
Well, it's great to you kind of laid out a very general kind of table for you to set for the viewers, because I think everyone wants to know, what is CCE? If you haven't jumped into the platform, I'm relatively familiar with it, but I know a lot of our viewers might just be hearing it for the first time. What is CCE? Can you explain it to us, what you guys do and how it feels a part of the Apex community they can get involved in?
Yeah, of course. No, I'd love to. I love talking about this. But so CCE right now is a competitive web platform, right? So where we run something that is not just like Apex tournaments, but it's more of a competitive queue. That's kind of what I like to call it. In contrast to usual tournament formats, where players register as a team, they play as a team, they compete as a team, and they're placed on the leaderboard as a team. This is more of like an individual format. And we created something that is more closely like a ranked system rather than like a tournament series, right? So there's no individual event registration. If you're signed up on the platform, you just play when the queue's open. And nowadays it just runs on weekends until we probably expand. So that was what you guys just saw was our play page. So our play page is where players can ready up and enter the queue. Whether it's like alone in a party or you can invite your friends literally through the platform. And as soon as there's 60 players in the queue, you accept into matches, you hop into the games, and like our live API setup does the rest. We've even like created cool little things where when you join the private match, you're able to get sorted into your team slot. So you don't got to look for your team. So, and yeah, you play every game you play inside of our queue. You gain points from kills, from assists, from your leaderboard placements. And every weekend you get an individual score on the leaderboard that you guys saw right there. And yeah, basically in summary, you can play your solo queue, you duo queue, you stack as a team. And our lobbies aren't they're not very formatted like scrims or ALGS. You're playing versus different teams in every game, different maps. We do legend bans a lot differently. I know everything's based on percentage here. For us, we do player votes. So we got like player voted legend bans. It's a very cool and unique system. And yeah, it's a new concept for a queue formatted competitive ecosystem, rather than your usual tournament format.
Sure.
So that's kind of that.
It sounds really, before I move on, because I do have a question, but you've given me another one. Is this something that if somebody were looking to get involved, is region restricted? Is it open to all regions on weekends? How have you guys organized that?
Yeah. So this is very interesting. So right now we're open to EMEA and North America, right? So we do, and it's actually very interesting. So it is a combined leaderboard across both regions, right? So people can crossplay. So North America players can play on EMEA and vice versa. But nobody wants to play on 250 ping, right? Yeah. So it is a combined leaderboard. We run for 2 regions. We hope to open it up for more and more regions down the line. We're obviously looking at Asia. Asia is a huge region. We love our Asia players. So yeah, we're hoping to open it up to more and more regions. But right now, NA, North America, EMEA, not necessarily region locked to those specific 2 regions, but catering, in terms of ping and playability, it's currently for those 2 regions.
Yeah, future hopefully we can do that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I was just thinking, Mark, I haven't heard your voice in a while, so tell me, Mark, how did you meet Ivan, and how do you work with CCE? Tell us a little bit more about what you're doing for this project.
I practically do what you guys are doing, the wonderful casting. They get to hear the voice of myself, and I normally work alongside Ben and potentially Scott as well when he is also casting, depending on our availability. Availabilities. There we go. Get that one out there. But yeah, it's been pretty much like we met because he had a tournament up and I seen it advertised. I reached out to him with Ben. It wasn't actually going to be me. It was going to be Ben and another caster. And then we got three of us going and doing their first ever series that they did, bringing in a few of the pro players and stuff as well, which was phenomenal because we had some pro teams that I got to cast over for the first ever time, which was an insight and definitely a fun time. So yeah, we've pretty much just decided to work on this, and then he mentioned he was going to do this sort of system for their own like gold to diamond, and then we worked it up, and we're working up to preds and such like, and bringing this whole ranked leader system. And then pretty much I just cast it for everybody else to watch as well, and we do all the production side of it as well. So it's pretty fun.
Yeah, this guy's being very humble. They're casting long hours every weekend, 3 hours a day. So these guys,
3 hours is nothing.
In my head, I'm like, oh my god, we're doing like a live leaderboard, shuffling teams all the time. Like, how on earth?
It's team 1, team 2, team 3. There's no casting, there's no team names, so it's a very strange one to do. But just have to remember the players and who we see on a regular basis, different teams. It's just it's chaos, but it's so much fun because there are so variations of players, so it is always good to see new names popping up there. We get to cast over. They obviously get their names on stream as well, so they'll get to hear themselves casted, which probably some of them will never ever get casted by casters for the most part, or even in the competitive lobby side of things. So it's quite cool for them as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a great thing to have because a lot of people actually wonder, hey, people ask me as well, Grace, how do I start being competitive? You know, because what else do I do except grind ranked? And you kind of got to find your way out of just the typical in-game stuff to find your way into scrims, whether that be CCE, whether that be any sort of scrim lobby, right? So it's really good to have this showcase and seeing the love for the community to have a room and place for everybody to show. Like you said, they might not be casted on Pro League today, but this is the beginning of that journey to make it there, right? So now that we know about the CCE in general, at this point, what are your long-term goals for CCE and Apex specifically?
Yeah, no, we'd love to run. I feel like, this is every tournament organizer's dream goal. We want to run, multiple blocks every day, multi-regional, want to be able to run, like right now we've got like weekly kind of weekend prize pools, right? We'd love to do daily and give an opportunity for players to kind of get into that competitive space, have a feeling and understanding of what it feels like to make Apex their career. I've had my heart into this game for a very long time. I've sometimes been on a challenger circuit cast, as a player and stuff like that. So I've got a huge passion for this game, and I hope to kind of build something that runs daily, something sustainable, something very long term. That's always kind of been my dream. And and kind of Apex is kind of where my home is. It's been here for like 4 years, since 2021, since kind of private matches even became a thing. We were, I want to say we're one of the first kind of organizers to be here, like kind of running private match tournaments. So it's been a very, very cool journey to go towards here, and I'm very proud of I'm proud of myself and my team for kind of building what we build right now. We're trying to build this huge infrastructure, a very kind of like automated experience for kind of and every player that wants to play it out there. It is completely kind of like an open experience. You like it, you don't. It's not for everybody, but we hope to make it for everyone. So
I love it, guys. Well, I mean, it's a great combo there. You got the lovely Scottish dulcet tones with Mark, and of course, Ivan, you seem like you've got a real vision for what this is. Where can people find it and check out CCE, sign up, or just watch you guys?
Yeah, that's cool. Okay, we get to a little shout out. So we have our web platforms online. It's cce.gg, a very, very simple URL. And the registration is very simple. It's right there, and then it's right on the front page. So if someone wants to check it out and compete in our queues, and give it a go, see if they got like a shot and making it to the top, it's right there, and then cce.gg. So.
Awesome. CCE.gg. Check it out if you guys are interested in what Ivan and Mark have shared today, and make sure to check out a cast if you can. I'm sure it's a lot of fun, and maybe some upcoming talent we might see in the Pro League. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate you, and we'll let you get back to running a great platform, and hopefully talk to you guys soon.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you very much for having us.
You guys have a good one. Thank you for having us.
All right. And speaking of the platforms that we're giving players to be showcased, well, if you are a content creator, if you are actually somebody who's never made it to like platinum or diamond or something like that, there's a chance that you've seen a tweet from a streamer or a big player going, I need you on my team for this. That's right. The Apex Creator Tournament Series is taking creators all around Apex and matching them with regular players, content creators, players who haven't made that pro or gotten that highlight yet, and putting them on a team with one of the biggest names in Apex to compete for a $25,000 prize pool sponsored by different creators in the esports space. This one by Violo on twitch.tv in May 29th. So that's coming up in just 6 days. So make sure to stay tuned for that. It'll be a running series. A great shout out to, I know, Respawn behind this as well, and everybody who's put together the work to make this happen. A lot of fun. I'm excited to see more of that participation. So make sure to tune in May 29th. Guys, got some great halftime information, especially some aspiring players have a lot more options on how they might be able to jump into the ALGS. But it's time for us to jump back into the actual ALGS. Game 4 underway.
All right, game 4 on the horizon. Graceful, before, can I get you to commit? You want to play some CCE together? Seems kind of fun. It's kind of... Are we allowed to do OQ? I don't even know if that's possible.
Yeah, I mean, he said you could solo, duo, trio. That's completely fine. However, I've got to say, for somebody who strictly follows the patch notes of Apex permanently, with the solo queue changes coming up right now, you might just find me stuck right there. I'm not gonna lie, it's so nice just being able to solo queue, being able to not think about finding people to play with. Even though I've been very blessed in that regard, it's always nice to just being able to boot up and not think too much, you know. Dia, I love you. I will play with you and we will figure things out.
But you'll be happier when you're playing alone in solo queue. I hear you, I hear you. I get it, I get it. I get it. We've got game 4 on the horizon. I'm gonna recover from this betrayal, the knife pulling out of my back. But game 4 at Olympus does heal all wounds, at least for us. It's gonna inflict some new ones on our players, so get ready.
Hey man, don't lie to chat, okay? Don't lie to them, because you know we play games on our spare time, okay? Yeah. You know I love you. All right, Olympus, we talked about it. Will we see some people opt more for Axel? I don't think people are trusting it in EMEA region. I would say if any map, this is the map, because there's so many slopes where you can make crazy macros, where you can make crazy outplays and crazy fast plays as well. But the likes of EMEA is opting to say, hey, let's just stick to the basics. I respect it because it's always something you can count on.
Bro, you know it is bad when a region goes, here's this new crazy legend that just came out, and instead we're gonna play Mirage. What are the Horde doing, bro? Playing Mirage. That's gonna send me. They are first, so you know you do have a little bit of wiggle room, but other teams don't have that luxury. And teams like 3 Men that have actually chosen to go through the phase driver, albeit at the cost of their Newcastle, are not gonna get away from this so lucky. Citadel with a nice timing punish on that. This is the risk of going through phase driver, is that you could find yourself between VP and Citadel's. VP, send it immediately, and Citadel are gonna follow him. We got a high-speed chase down the middle of Olympus.
Should be some playable area there, but as we saw as well, Prestis once again lighting up that kill feed. If you're a fan of Prestis, you've been enjoying today's show for sure. He's been popping off left and right entirely. However, we can't count out Citadel Gaming, currently on 13 points, are actually... They've been in game spots to where things could have happened, and that's always one of my things. You got to be able to make plays, and they've definitely been able to. Hasn't really panned out the way they wanted for them to yet, but as long as you keep getting into those positionings where you're in those end games, one of them will go your way.
One of the things that we haven't really gotten a chance to do yet is go to the mini-map, but we are not going to get to, as our first strike comes through again with this deadly phase driver being the focus. SJP2 shoot through there, and Babylon's is back on Mission Impossible to finally grab his teammate's banner, make a recovery, hopefully, and get a respawn. 3 Men may yet, yes, become 3 Men again.
SJP2, however, does a crazy landing right next to VP, I think it was in that house, running into ForFun in the next play. They are definitely dead. There's no way this macro works ever for them. They're caught in between a rock and a hard place as ForFun and VP decimates them.
That was a quick end to the story. SJP2 out, unable to find a position, and it's largely because of phase driver that has allowed so many teams to rotate so quickly that there's no space in the rift anymore. Havoc Legends have started moving up on this. Will they take their phase driver? Will it cook them as well? We're about to find out, because right now everybody seems to be lining up.
This is the crazy part as well, as teams are feeling more and more comfortable in making plays, as we see catalysts come out from plenty of teams. Everybody is comfortable and they know how to play around these walls. They're so hungry and to look for KP, as Heretics is one of the teams that are looking for KP on a team right now running away.
1K exists. Does get pushed back. behind cover. Still has wall available. You don't want to go down without using that crucial defensive tool if Heretics are going to continue this fight. But there seems to be enough damage dealt to them from the low ground that it is no longer advisable. Novo do a great job of defending their territory, and Heretics do get the Evo, get a little bit of extra damage, and should be able to get out. I dare say, Grace, I know we're sticking around here. I know we're staying on this shot. We got to leave. This fight is over.
Definitely over. However, on the flip side of things, in the dead center of the zone around Rift right now, zone actually ends more closer towards Mamma Mia a lot of the times. More towards that wall, actually, as other teams are just poking and prodding, putting their heads out the window to say, hey, can we find something? And who else except VP is always finding KP right now. Today has been all about them finding picks, honestly.
Yeah, it is one of the things that is the balance of Apex Legends. We've got the teams that are right on the cusp of making it, who we've been holding our breath when they show up on screen every time because we don't know if they're going to live or die. And we have teams like Virtus Pro that are guaranteed to make a splash almost every game because of the way that they've been performing this split. VP have been at the top of so many EMEA tier lists, so many considerations when squads are moving around them, and that's one of the things that in this game can actually become a little bit complicated because we have so many teams in the same area. VP can make a big splash, but there's never been a better time for a team that nobody expected to succeed to come out the last squad standing from the Rift and make a shot at the end game.
Indeed, indeed. However, ECLIPSE, one of the teams we talked about earlier in the show before the matches started, one of the teams that need to do good, have been struggling today. Now, match number 4, is this the turning point? I said the zone normally ends towards this direction. They're set up kinda in a good spot because also you have to mind yourself, Alter is already banned as well, so no crazy volatile stuff is happening, especially with no Axel in the game. They're kind of feeling pretty good about themselves. If they can hold this down, this game could be the turning point that they need.
In this game, in match number 4, like you say, Valk already banned. Wraith could be banned next. We've got Watson still around as well, with both of those tied in picks. So one of these legends is going to leave us next game, and we'll see who it ends up being. Is taking a look at the map right now, we got a couple key things to point out. First off, Novo moving into Turbine are going to get ring console scan, should they have the ability to. DSK, similarly, Infinite, the same. Heretics, unfortunately, don't have that option, nor do the Horde, lest they go Turbine or move all the way out to Gardens. But Infinite, Novo, and funnily enough, DSK, all are going to have the information that this is going center Rift and away from teams like Awakened, who took that more flexible position that you love.
Yeah, most definitely. I love that position from Awakened because they are in a spot to where they can fight for whichever side they want to fight realistically, or wait for a fight to unfold and then potentially 3P as well. The options are there. It just comes down to which choice they make. They definitely have the potential to get into endgame this game. However, Zone, people are opting for Zone pulling a little bit deeper, so we shall see if that happens. One of the teams, though, that we got to look at, like you said, DSK, one of the teams that were initially in okay spots, but they got pinched on match number 1, I believe. We'll have to see if they can make something happen, because if you can't win your 3v3s and you just end up running and running, eventually you get thirded, and that's just night-night.
Zipline Mafia, unfortunately, having lost excuse for right now, are going to be just the 2. And it's not a particularly comfortable place to be. No crafters immediately present, as Zipline Mafia are going to need not only to find one of those, but also get themselves to a respawn beacon. I much prefer DSK's position. Gardens and the high ground that they have looks good. It's a gatekeeping position into the rest of Rift, but they must fight Havoc Legends. These two teams are not going to simply ignore each other, and tragedy strikes for ECLIPSE NEEVEPRO. In the meantime, it's as this fight kicks off, we got a lot of action happening around Olympus right now, but it's DSK that have got to find their way to success. Dan taking a 1v2 manages to make it work, and now just a 1v1 to clutch things up against Osam would be really big for him. Tries to find the finish for the shield swap, but loses 75% of his HP on the way, with Team Heretics coming up. DSK are out. Heretics inherit the fight.
What did I say, Dia, about if you fight and you don't win that 3v3, if it takes too long, the time you get thirded, Heretics comes out on top from inside, where the Gibby team tried to get out from initially. Now that you have this, Havoc Legends as well, we're there, feeling good about this. Heretics, however, couple KP is a good start. They got the zone. They can walk down the slope. They have plenty of area to work with. We shall see. Can they even make it into the next zone? Because as this zone progresses, more and more people are just going to be looking at them from safe spots, like we see the likes of these buildings down there in the pits. All of those are essentially safe now that there's no altar in play. So they're just going to be scoping things out to see if they can catch people rotating in late.
We started the day thinking about Orgless and Hungry as a team that really needed to step it up, that was on the bubble, but right now they've accrued some momentum through E-District. They've had a couple of rough ones, but this time, this game may just be the one where Orgless and Hungry are able to finish on a win. Let's take a listen in with them, see how they're feeling.
Have people trying to force, maybe.
Yeah.
Like with like flying in, trying to force coexist.
Taking the mag.
Going to Jen, can you hold the other side?
Yeah, I'm gonna go. Okay. I'm swapping sides, yeah.
Like if a team flies in, like a Babycom team or something, where are we being shot from?
I don't know.
Far.
Can you swap shields?
They go in here, they die. Yeah.
Also, pathy teams, the ping pathy teams, if you see. So they could
yeah, they can step up.
I know it's a Rave team that was playing out here.
Yeah,
Rave
that's a
TP
Brave
team.
TP.
Yeah, we need to watch Path Zips.
He's a pathy team here. The pathy is dying right now. Wait. I kill the pathy here. Look. Can I fin?
Yeah,
99 flash, 190 flash.
Trying.
Orgless and Hungry right now actually picking up kills from afar. But their setup is good, Grace. I like the way they were talking about what other teams might do.
Yeah, most definitely. They're just making sure to hold down the fort, essentially. But we did see for a brief second, the zone is shifting, like I said before, towards the western side of things, towards Mamma Mia and the likes of Awakened. They're in a good spot right now, but Orgless and Hungry are going to have to make a play sooner than later. Now we see, however, on the flip side of things, the Horde that you talked about as well, or the Mirage pick, are hunting people down from the edge. We'll see how that pans out.
The Horde, might be experimenting, might be getting a little generous with the experimentation too. This one could go awry. We'll see how long they survive, as we aren't even in points territory yet. 16 squads still stand, and even Team Heretics are out of there. Nobody has the time to stick around Gravity Engine anymore. It is all about piling into Rift as soon as possible, where Heretics actually could go down. There are a lot of teams in this area looking at them, and Not Infinite about to find out as Heretics roll up on them. But ForFun approaching from the south side are also going to try and portal in, find a little bit of safety through this cat wall, and it does not work out for them. Sinetic gets chomped down on his face, bitten off, and Tyler will follow real quickly with a portal that was doomed on both sides.
Definitely indeed. When the zone is collapsing like that, teams are bound to come in with the zone, as now we see Citadel Gaming, the fight that initially started downhill right there, gets the reset actually. Both teams are trying to reset, but Infinite gets eliminated. Soon he cleans that out, and now CTG feeling really good about themselves in this corner, but they get engaged on again by Babylon's walking up on them.
This has become the one fight that everybody piles in on. The catalyst, if you'll excuse the using of a Legend's name for something that is not actually talking about them, of this entire south side of the zone. Everybody was forced to pile in as soon as Heretics started the fight, and Virtus.pro will be the last squad to arrive. Looks like we will be losing our final squad there as well. Novo don't have a whole lot of ways out. They will go down. We are down to 11 squads in Ring 4. We're about to cut it down a little bit further, as even those 11 squads are not safe during the next ring close. Zipline, Mafia, 3 men, Citadel, Virtus.pro, Gamin, Gladiators, even Orgless and Hungry up on high ground are about to lose their spots.
Definitely, they're going to have to be forced to walk in with this next zone, but we saw the likes of Virtus.pro picking a good spot to where they could 3P the collapse happening from the southern side of the zone, and even the eastern side right now. If they're looking to wipe that side as well, they're going to have their backs completely cleared, or are they going to opt to get in a little bit deeper? Nobody knows that the tunnel in the center of the zone is actually free right now. Whoever finds that literally just found a safe haven, if they do end up finding that.
Virtus.pro not going to be that team. They're focused on clearing out the edge, making sure their backs are safe. Something that is one of the methodical parts of their gameplay, one of the discipline that they bring to this game, to this match. Virtus.pro are making sure teams like 3 men behind them, Zipline, Mafia, don't have a safe place to exist. But there are 2 teams with Virtus.pro And the ring is already moving. We're gonna have to fight as Blessed go down.
Indeed, we go down to 9 teams. Circle 5 about to showcase, as well as VP is straight in a fight right now. 3 men against VP as it comes down to Prestis, the one who has been making it happening today. Is currently repositioning to see if he can get a reset, but he gets taken out as other teams are definitely staying ready.
That discipline not really working out for them, even though I think they had the right idea. Virtus.pro couldn't clear everything, and they end up being the ones to go down. 3 men still up, Zipline Mafia still up, actually sharing space with Mamma Mia. But as you talked about, the center of Rift is where it's really at right now. Playing for tunnels, playing for little bits of cover here and there. I love the way Sampe is playing with the charge rifle, no less, making sure that they can't easily be swung on by Gamin Gladiators.
Nice movement from Sudi. Make sure to stay alive in the middle of the zone right now on the rooftop. Should somebody come up and clear him out? Or is he going to make something happen by just staying silent there and see if he can hold people off? We'll see. 3 men right now found a spot to come in from the southern side after taking out VP. Feeling really good about themselves as they are the ones who engage on everybody. Getting poked a little bit though by a drill shouldn't be too scary. Are feeling good about that. Yep.
Top 7 teams with Orgless and Hungary playing a really fantastic game so far. They've used the charge rifle, used their range with really fantastic effectiveness, but it's time for them to become short range. You can't hold a sniper the entire game. Grace, at some point, Apex Legends becomes close range or nothing, and this is that moment. 1 second left as the zone closes. SS11 is going to find a single respawn for WeQ, and they're going to have to book it into the center of zone.
Zipline Mafia gets the rest and then the actual respawn as well, as they are back to a trio to see who they have to fight walking in, as Awaken have a free side. Zipline Mafia and Mamma Mia are forced to fight walking in with the zone unless somebody makes a fast macro play, but that shouldn't be the case. Heavener right now feeling really good on top of this building in the next zone as well, hovering everybody to see if they can scrap up a couple more KP, but they're in a good spot actually to poke people into one another.
I am seeing charge rifles, I am seeing longbows, and I'm seeing a whole lot of weapons that are not going to be effective in these fights. You have got to be swapping. It is now or never. There are death boxes. There are options. Sampe, take the charge rifle off, man. Orgless and Hungary are out of space, out of time, out of options, and shield swaps are only delaying the inevitable.
That Gibby ult did so much damage. I can't believe they're still in this for the moment. However, Zipline Mafia, the team that we saw get the reset, in a phenomenal spot for the moment with that timing to see if they can poke CJ and Missy right there behind that. If they can poke them out or force them into the other team on the other side of the wall, Orgless and Hungry, they could get a huge game.
Sentinel still finding kills. 3 men out. Orgless and Hungry about to fall with the L-Star and infinite ammo, no less. This is a tragedy. Would have loved to have that option, but Orgless and Hungry don't have the luxury. Zipline Mafia get full sent on as well. Heaven or Icon are doing damage in the middle of Rift and are finally here to finish off Orgless and Hungry. Fricks does fry up 1 member, and Heaven or Icon will have to find the res while Gamin Gladiators swing out to the outside of the Rift, cleaning up the fight and moving themselves to top 2. We have 2 squads left. Heaven or Icon gotta fight Gamin Gladiators, 1 inside the Rift and 1 holding that piece of cover on the outside.
One of the teams, Gamin Gladiators, has been playing phenomenally today, and they are known to take proper fights. We shall see now. Can Heavener make this happen after Lufka, one of the people that always make plays happen with that alternate, is trying to walk up with the Q, gets that reset, gets the initial damage. Longbow is out on this way. If they can get angles, can Heavener pull this off or not?
Look, Zane! Zane's got a flank! Zane's already taken down Suki! That's it! Gamin Gladiators know they have the numbers advantage, and the pincer maneuver will be completed! 1 member left, and no hope left, as Gamin Gladiators take their 2nd game off the back of Zane opening things up.
When you see Lufka walk up at you right there, he gets that initial damage with the alternator, forcing them back, enables Zane to take that flank with the Wraith, gets that initial knock, and it's just night-night for them. Crucial play from having those roles. This is why some characters, when you pick Wraith, let's just say if somebody picked Axel, that Wraith adds the initial security as well to where he can get a pick, get out quickly, reposition. Now it's just a 3v2, stabilize, and it's your game. They play that really well, and they have been playing super strong this entire day.
I mean, that is one of those games where I sound like a crazy person, because we're sitting on Lufka's perspective. He's going to half HP, and I'm going, it's Zane. It's Zane right now, because GG are communicating. They know it's their moment, and even Heavener know what's going on. You play this many games of Apex, you understand that the guy who's been off your screen for a half second in a 3v3, that is your next nightmare. And again, it is Zane making things happen. Again, as you say, the rest of Gamin Gladiators deserve their flowers. That was a really good setup, but it comes down to your fragger to make that happen. And I walk away from this game amazed that they were able to pull that 3v3 off as cleanly, as quickly as they were, and forcing errors themselves, not waiting for Havoc Legends to try and cook something, or rather Heavener to try and cook something up and then seeing what they could do.
You could really see that in their gameplay as Gaming Gladiators walked up. You know, you saw Lufka, you saw that longbow, you saw people are walking and taking space to make sure that we are playing the game. You guys got to react to us. They're staying proactive, and that's really how you get opportunities. When you get that crack, when you get something, Zane just walks in and the game is over. Phenomenal textbook gameplay, really, on how to break down team fights.
Yeah, I really love what they brought in, guys. Great finishing call on that one. It was fun to see Zane do his thing. That's why you pick up a player like that. Absolutely crazy, and obviously well win to Gaming Gladiators, who stay on top. And let's take a look at the overall series leaderboard, because I think the conversation is less about, you know, how Gaming Gladiators are continuing to dominate, because remember, this is Group A versus B, they're double header. We're looking at the teams who have dominated but have maybe shown an uptick right now where they really need it. And I think looking at a team like, you know, 3min, obviously they're sitting at 30 points, being fourth so far, just behind Virtus Pro. That is massive. They're well out of qualification, but a big day today. That's a strong move for them. Project Heavener as well. I mean, they're sitting in 23rd place with 25 points, but again, keeping in that top 5. It's not looking like anyone's going to catch Gaming Gladiators right now, Dia, but the potential to be up for 21 or 18 points by getting 3rd or 2nd place, that would be game changing for these teams and keep their hopes alive for qualifying in that top 9. And that's certainly still on the table here with 2 more games to go.
Yeah, there's a reason that we've been talking about Orgless and Hungry so much. I mean, they've really been a focus here. I'd say one of the teams that I had my eye on coming into today that I am getting nervous about as we approach these last 2 games on Olympus is Infinite. They started off really well. They started off doing even better than I had expected, and now are starting to fall off the radar a little bit more. Well, Orgless and Hungry, after winning game 1, may not have found themselves another win, but have continued to perform pretty darn well, all things considered.
Yeah, currently Graceful, they're sitting 34 points, and they're 15 points behind that 9th place 49, and that is obviously still the bottom end of where they want to be, because they've got to play and then watch next weekend. So they have to get more than enough, and hopefully nobody can surpass them. Not an easy task, but again, we said they started out the best that they can, and in many ways, they're the only team that we've seen take advantage of Axel. And for the case of today, we actually haven't seen any Axels being picked up in game 4. We've moved away from this legend almost completely in EMEA. What are your thoughts now after 4 games of seeing them and a little bit on Orgless and Hungry finally getting a win with this character?
I mean, I think that EMEA is known for one of the teams to be a little bit less about reinventing the wheel, or even, like I said, pioneering legends, and they're sticking to the fundamentals, which I think is a solid game plan. You know, you've been practicing something for several months. You want to make sure you take that game plan in. But like we said as well, if it's not working, that might be the point where we see it. I am looking forward to the other regions as well to see if they are a little bit more pioneering, like I said, willing to take their bets on this new legend and new team comp to see if we can make, you know, a big splash like we saw the likes of Fitzwatson in the past with the Seer. Would be really interesting to see, but it's not shocking to me at all that people are opting for comfort picks.
Well, I think it's going to happen. I honestly think this is the legend as close to Seer as possible. I think that when you see a team run down effectively with Axel, like they kind of demonstrated on Edge in game 1, and they get 21 points, but then they do it again and again. All these zone teams start competing with each other, and those points go from 0 to maybe 2, then another game of only 3, and they're like, wow, we're really behind now. What do we do to jump up? You're going to see people start to turn their heads towards, we need a more aggressive plan. The team who's being aggressive is out in the head. And at LAN, guys, we see this happen all the time, because first place wins. Sure, you get the crown. Second place win something like $100,000 to $300,000 half the time. And it's based on points. It's not based on whether you win. And so obviously there's a lot to do with teams who can run it down and be successful. We've seen that with his Watson, and we've seen that with other players come in like, oh my God, at our open, guys, it was the team that was running everybody down. Please remind me.
You're thinking of Orchid?
No,
Orchid
no.
Tweakers.
Twerkaholics.
Yeah,
and they were a challenger circuit team. There's my segue.
Yes.
And they've now, you've got a chance to be maybe the next Twerkaholics. If you found that you know how to run Axel, guys, this is your moment to make your legacy begin. You can jump into the challenger circuit. We've seen teams come in and then show up at LAN and have huge historic moments and now find a career as a professional. It could start with you. Make sure to check out the registration. It closes June 3rd for the June 6th through 8th. We just missed the window for the May 23rd to 25th, but there's always a chance to jump in and join our challenger circuit. It's truly where we've seen a lot of amazing players come from that are now currently in our league. That's a great shout out. Grace, we're going to say goodbye to you, Dia. You and I are going to have a lot of time together here in the next, so I know you got something to say, but we're going to say goodbye to Grace. Great cast, man. All right, Dia, now it's you and me heading into game 5. What was on your mind here as we see the Watson ban and we jump back into Olympus?
I was just thinking, you know, we've been talking about bubble teams so much. And when we say bubble teams, we don't mean teams running Gibraltar. We mean teams that are trying to make it up, that are technically within touching distance of a qualification point in this point, or at this place, the qualification into LAN. And I was thinking about it when you were talking about Challenger Circuit, because one of the teams that I've been looking at today is Mamma Mia. And Mamma Mia also really notably played in Challenger Circuit. I think Black Venom, I saw him playing for about a year. Mask, I saw him playing for like 2 or 3 years. Akio's been playing for a little while. All 3 of those players have also come out of the Challenger Circuit. Stay Healthy have done their time in the Challenger Circuit. And all of these players that are now just what you'd consider part of the regular Pro League. I mean, Mamma Mia have made their impact. Stay Healthy are a team that is going to be in the conversation when you start talking about competitors, people who are qualifying for LAN, and they are teams that were in the Challenger Circuit up to less than a calendar year ago. So it really is, like, the line is so thin between Challenger Circuit and Pro League, especially when you're able to get into finals lobbies.
It's a great point to make, and for everyone who's wondering how do I get there, well, not only CCE shout outs that we've had at halftime, but also just the Challenger Circuit. There's a lot of this ecosystem that is clearly underdeveloped because it doesn't have the initial funding. But once these people take initiative and you see people like Ivan, you see people creating these institutions that allow people to go from one step to the next easier, well, it's one of the biggest opportunities, not just to obviously take on if you have the entrepreneurial spirit, but to participate in, because it gives people who would never have that chance a chance. I love what Mark said too, Dia. There's people who just want to play because they've never gotten themselves casted before. They've never had anyone say something about them and how they're playing. That clip is something they'll show. I mean, we've seen Vicky Kitty in her clips. I mean, you know how far those go. I mean, this is a clip you'll show to everybody at any party all the time when you talk about Apex. And I feel like that is maybe just worth it too. So, you know, the infrastructure of Apex, I love seeing it being built and really cultivated by our community, who's still going very, very strong after 6 years.
And I gotta say, I mean, half the reason that I'm considering playing in CC is because I want to hear my name said with a Scottish accent. That's what I want.
I know, right? That accent was great.
I mean, I want to make a good play. I'm not going to, but if I make any play that makes them say my name, I'm winning. Like, it's, you know, we're good.
You just got to wonder, you know, because I know about Ireland. I mean, if they don't like something, you can hear a whole different type of language being used right there. I don't know if Scotland's the same, but either way, you're going to get a clip. Let's put it that way, whether Mark likes you or not. Heading into game 5, Dia, we are seeing again the elimination of Axel. I'm going to jump out on a limb, and I'm going to say something that, as a competitor, I see in EMEA. I don't like this personally, because I think that this is ignoring the reality, which is Axel is going to be a big part of a global stage LAN. I think she's going to be a big part of other regions' game plans. And EMEA, not just one team, not just like 19 teams not playing Axel, to me, is almost like one of those gentlemen's agreements we had before drop spots, where everyone's like, you know, let's just not push, you know, too far. This is our last couple of days. Let's just keep it simple. I know the game changed. I know this changed. But let's not jump into that. And to me, that's not how I would approach it, because I feel like there's a lot that you lose by not having this as a real experience. Sure, you risk something as well, and I think that's what they're trying to mitigate, D, and I can't blame a pro player for mitigating risk, but I can also say that it's not what I don't like it necessarily personally, and I would love to see more teams utilizing this character, because I feel like we're going to see it in Americas, I feel like we're going to see it in APAC North, I feel like we're going to see it all over, and you're going to have to get there eventually. So delaying the inevitable to me feels like I don't really know who that's good for.
Yeah, I mean, it's not even that far. Like, we're most of the way through this season. We're already talking about teams that might not make it, that might have to fight for relegation. We're going to playoffs soon. You're going to be playing for serious money. And the difference between teams that have played Axel, that are comfortable with that legend, that are comfortable abusing the squads who have not, is going to be pretty noticeable, especially in the first stages of competition. You've, of course, got time to grow. We're not saying that time doesn't exist. And Randy, if I can argue the other side of this, I can definitely see the benefit of going, well, we're not ready yet.
Sure.
We're going to take the next couple of weeks of scrims because right now it's important, as actually you've been saying during the course of the day, to play comfortable. But in the large scale of things, I agree. You got to be a little more like Heretics here. You've got to be picking up Axel and trying to make things work, because she does bring incredible value. I'd say the world, every competitor, even those that aren't running her right now, would agree Axel's a bit overtuned, and you better be abusing it.
Yeah, I mean, it just reminds. There's so many things I can say in the real world where there's groups that in different ways just say, yeah, we're not going to do that. We're not going to participate in that. And honestly, you can have that last for a little bit, but it's hard if things start shifting one way. And to me, Axel does not feel like a character that's going to go away. However, we haven't seen any major adjustments to the character. There is still time for that. Maybe this does ride out, playing devil's advocate, to where Axel loses some strength, maybe gets a nerf, and then isn't that relevant coming into lane. So many unknowns. However, EMEA doing a very interesting gentleman's handshake here. Pretty much nobody picking up the Axel, and so we're getting a lot of traditional comps here. But speaking of atypical, the Horde's always been a team, Hardeki and squad, 9 Impulse, Kazakh, to give us something a little special, and they've got Bangalore Mirage playing as well. And this time, SJP2, the team we know needs to get some kills, not so sneaky with their attack. Denze and Maggie very upfront with the Seer alongside him and sneaky, but yep, they're just going to probably take a little bit more of a risk than they would need to, because they know the points are needed. Not sure how this fight will go for them, but they're certainly going to engage in it because they've got to do something, and they've got to do it quick.
SJP2, another interesting callback to what we talked about in the pre-show, Challenger Circuit. I mean, I remember this squad back when they were in CC, and it's funny how that sort of gameplay even has them now. Looking at the way that SJP2 just played that fight, they are hoping a team doesn't know how to defend. They are hoping to abuse a squad that isn't set up yet, and this is Pro League. The team is ready to defend, and now SJP2 have found themselves without a real spot to play, with a couple teams portaling on them, everybody looking directly at them, and honestly in a lot of trouble. SJP2 have taken a fight that is no good.
And this is obviously a team in a structure, a difficult position, just where they are in the structure of the league right now. Just so low. They need a win for this league. They need another win in the next match day. And that's probably not even going to get them, honestly, if we're being honest. It's probably not going to be enough to qualify either, because of the teams that are so close to that point threshold already that are going to be able to play again. So it's just so tough for SJP2. But, they're playing their best. They're doing what they can. You got to give them credit where credit is due. And, don't go out without a fight. That is for sure. On the side of Havoc Legends, though, OSAM, they've been involved in a lot of things, and I think they've been a pretty decent team today, Dia. But, honestly, what are your thoughts on them so far?
Yeah, Havoc Legends, I'd say much like SJP2, have suffered from needing to grow up a lot in a short span of time, and neither of those teams have quite been equal to the task. But when I say that, I don't want it to come across as me being rude to our players. Like, this is reality. Apex Legends is really hard. This split maybe hasn't been their split. But if they're able to stick around, if they're able to make it through the requalifications along with SJP2, as is likely, to move into the Pro League again, I could see these players aging well, and it is a really fantastic, interesting experiment, right?
Yeah.
This is our first full Arabic-speaking team that we've got in EMEA That's fantastic. I'm excited to see that. I remember going crazy over our first all-Italian speaking roster. Like, having this amount of diversity in Apex is great. When we talk about the performance, though, it's been underwhelming.
Something to improve on. And you always need something to improve. Even the best teams are looking for something to improve. They may be narrowing down on the smaller things, but some of these big things too means anywhere that you kind of go in that direction, you're going to see market improvement. And just staying in Pro League for some of these teams is the goal. It's just staying in, getting experience, especially if you're new. Guys like Sinetic, Nags, and Tyler have been here for a while, clearly world-class level players. Their goal is to win now. Try to find the right roster to win. And it's looking like an opportunity, 53 to the dome with the Hemlock, but Sinetic's going to take just as much or more back. Jumps into the portal, really good recognition of that. Half second later, he would have been dead, but we'll stay alive for now. Still 20 squads here in this lobby.
You know, Rain, you talked about this Sinetic and being on the hunt for a successful roster. I feel like he has had access to so many amazing pieces since his run on Made in Heaven. Sinetic's had a lot of opportunities to succeed, hasn't actually managed to top the league again since this like fateful land where he showed up, had a lot of momentum, didn't really get it done. How do you do that? Where do you recover? When do you stop changing things? Or where do you find the right change as a player?
Well, I think it comes from your internal drive being reset somehow. I think when you get a modicum of success, it's very easy for the next thing you do to just be compared to that, and you to kind of already feel comfortable in what you're doing. And I think that's the first step. But then when, as any person, you know, you reach one level, there's the next level unlocks, and he realizes that being comfortable kind of pushes him back. Really, to succeed in a league like this, you have to be pushing yourself forward. And while Sinetic had that one season, it got clear that things became stale. And I think this resurgence with Tyler is exactly what this squad needed. And it's not like, you know, you trade out Zane and Tyler and one player's bad, one player's good. They're both good, as Hardeki's running away, another amazing fragger. They're both great, but just the influx of the new identity, the new squad, maybe the new person to coach, the new personality to deal with in comms, to assist with Sinetic's thought process. Sometimes it just opens up that switch, increases that opportunity to go, okay, here's our next zone. And I don't mean that literally. I mean the next zone of play that we can achieve. And so far, I think so good. You know, we're keeping a close eye on them because I think they are a great story, and they're a developing roster who's showing more potential than they have after kind of having a little bit of a slump.
And I know you didn't mean it this way, but we've seen a couple teams that have been whittled down pretty significantly. And while they're struggling, while teams like Awakened are maybe not having the best time, while Horde are having to reset, we've also got to talk about the next zone, because we are going basically straight towards Summers. If I'm looking at this ring as it's shown so far, yeah, we've got a lot of action in Solar Array, but if I'm these teams, I'm betting that we're going Summers, and we are about to see on the next ring pop a very specific divide between teams that have predicted this correctly, again, in my opinion, likely going Summers University, and the teams that have predicted it incorrectly, who have chosen, again, in my opinion, Solar Array. I could be wrong. Maybe it's the other way around.
Now, here's my big question. Sommers or Summers?
Ooh. I would definitely go Summers University. Because
are you saying Summers? Is it? Are you actually saying
Summers University? I'm saying Summers. Yeah.
It's sounding like Summers though. Okay. It's because your Summers is sounding like Summers, and I'm just thinking, wow, what a great what a great place, like Summers. Like that just sounds like a. Are you going to Summers, dude? That sounds like a cool, hip, like, you know, bar out on the town, or, you know, lounge or something. You hitting Summers later? Oh yeah, I'll be there. I mean, hey, I love it. But Summers.
But does Summers sound worse?
Summers sounds a little bit, you know, when you add university, I'm like, okay, that makes sense, because it takes me into a little bit more of a serious zone. I started thinking Summers, you know, somber, start, you know, slowing down a little bit, more intellectual. I think it's an important distinction. I'm glad the fans know.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you gotta whip out the awe sometimes. You know, my choir teacher would have my head if she.
Listen, I'm surprised you didn't say Summers, you know, because you got the Spanish. You're in Spain. Yes. Living in Spain. I mean, that's your personality now, right? That's what we've decided on broadcast.
For those of you who don't know, well, that's we'll talk about it soon. Yeah.
And now we make fun of him like that's his whole personality, which it's not, but you know, sometimes it is.
But it could be.
It could be.
I need one. For right now, I was going to touch real quickly on the teams that were making their way in, but we'll have to talk about the teams that are on their way out, because Awakened, unfortunately, not in Spain. Actually, yeah, they're not in Spain. I know that for a fact. I know that they're not Spanish. We only got 2 Spanish players in the league.
Dia's only going to cast the teams that are adjacent in Spain, by the way. If your country isn't touching Spain, Dia will not cast you, so I'll have to pick up on the mic here. Talking about friction, Seer and Maggie, they're a duo that is, gone together like peanut butter and jelly this split. It's been so nice to see Seer back. It's not amazing when Seer is the only legend you have to run, but when he's sprinkled in with Maggie, some aggressive comps, Dia, it's so fun and so electric. You're seeing Catalyst also come back as a resurgence with this duo to make a really impactful trio. You see it there with the Dark Veil and another kill. Havoc Legends being immediately eliminated there, put in a bad spot. But I like this aggressive combo as well. I mean, this is certainly a game 4, 5, 6 that we're seeing this. And in game 5, it makes a lot of sense that people are bringing this out. But the Catalyst really relatively unchanged. Just showing how quality of a legend that is. When options get lower or shifted, she could still do the job.
Big part of the bloodshed that you're seeing right now is ECLIPSE NEEVEPRO will fall. We hit 15 squads in Zone 4 because of this prediction. The Horde go down. 3 men are going to send it on to Venom, who is 1 HP, and force a Gibby bubble as well. They should be able to finish this fight even through the Thunderdome, but Tycho, low, can't actually tank that damage anymore. Has to take a reset himself, healing behind the box. 3 men should win this fight, and Mamma Mia will go down. A Catalyst wall to let Zipline Mafia move forward could mean that this is the kills they need, but we've got Sheila walls. Surely 3 men outlast, but with Tycho going down, Babylon hits the headshot of his career.
No.
Manages to fry WeQ, but no! WeQ survives on 1 HP. Orgless and Hungry, and 3 men will fall.
Babylon's almost sent us back to the bliss of the gardens there, finding a kill in almost a second, but it just was not enough. Certainly would have been a wonder of the world if he could have made that play happen. Taskmaster going down and getting picked back up again. Sinetic not letting Virtus.pro reset, and this is going to be ForFun finishing off Virtus.pro. There's no way they get out of this, right? Certainly going to take that Wraith portal. They're going to go back in, and ForFun don't need to risk the port there. They will just kind of go run towards that direction. They know that Virtus.pro is behind them, and it should be a slow, methodical press here. Sinetic not trying to risk too much. And this is an interesting call. This is interesting, Dia, because you see an obvious opportunity to push a team that's been weakened, that has a player that's down. Sinetic doesn't want to risk that, and they are at the edge of zone. Maybe just concerned that another team could get close enough to do it. There's no Axels in the lobby. They're not worried about that.
So I'm so confused. Did they not have Portal in EMEA? Did they run out of Portal after taking it? Because VP could have taken it back. I don't know. ForFun do lose Sinetic on the perhaps overchase of VP, but they've got to get into zone either way. A count wall at them, and a nice hipfire shot off of Tyler could save them, but you can't cook through the Gibby bubble. And into the Wraith portal we will go. ForFun Esports trying to make it out. Sinetic's got to place the exit for them, and he will. Out they go. And now turning things around again onto Zipline Mafia, who hold the high ground. ForFun are not out of the woods. They do have a new castle wall to save them for a moment, but Zipline Mafia seem to have the angles with SS11. It is just Tyler around, but Sinetic and Nag start moving in, pincering, reversing this on Zipline Mafia. Uno is a deadly game, but Apex is deadlier. That Citadel will fall, and ForFun are on the verge of eliminating Zipline Mafia.
That was a ridiculous, I mean, if we're in Uno terms, reverse Uno. They set up that portal, got out with just a sliver of health for Sinetic, and somehow found a way to get the entire team back up. Sliver of health for Tyler. Nags was back up. Sinetic, a beautiful timed ultimate portal, and utilizing the new perk, allowing that Wraith Dome, when you are standing in it on one side of the portal, before the portal is closed, to be completely invulnerable. And that allowed Tyler to stay alive, take that portal, and then reset and actually find a kill onto another squad. Still surprised that they let Virtus.pro live, though. Virtus.pro now finally eliminated. Maybe, you know, it played out correctly, but I still feel like maybe a bit more aggression on the side of Sinetic and squad earlier on would have made that a lot easier of a transition. But ForFun Esports, you can't complain. They got the job done.
5 squads left. ForFun want to make it 1, as they finally got the opportunity to finish off Zipline Mafia if Sinetic can survive. It's just excuse in here, and finally They will go out, but this has attracted some attention from Team Heretics, who were throwing in damage on Sinetic. ForFun get to reset inside the building. Now, not enough utility on Heretics to actually full siege this, leaving us with 4 squads left. Elite, Heretics, Infinite, and ForFun, with Elite needing to make their way into zone. Heretics and Infinite are fighting. This could be the perfect time for a third party.
It absolutely could be. Our Axel team that we mentioned, the one in the lobby, has made it all the way to top 4. So we get to see Axel in this end game. What can Jans do with it? On the other side of one wall, you got Elite and you've got ForFun fighting each other. This is pretty isolated. It's essentially like a big catalyst wall that isn't, you know, dark and squiggly, separating these two teams. And I think that actually allows for some cleaner play. They know exactly what they need to handle. And Team Heretics and Infinite maybe in a better position because the zone is going to move towards them a little bit here and force Elite and ForFun out into space. So who can stay in the longest? That's going to be the question.
Telling decision here. Tyler held on to the Kraber with 1 bullet in it.
Ooh.
That's a prayer. That is...
Well, he hit that.
That is not a late game investment. That is maybe we win if I hit this 1 shot. We got to keep our eyes on Tyler and what he's able to cook up with this. Heretics, though, definitely the most options. This is my theory on Axel, is that she's much better in late game. She seems like an early game legend, somebody who should be able to move you around the map, and yes, she can. But in the late game, I think this is where we see Axel win, and I would bet that Heretics win this game off of Axel alone. We'll see.
I mean, when you look at Kickstart, man, that ultimate is great. If you get hit by that and there's a lot of things flying around, he's going to do it right here. A good player is going to kill you, like, instantly. Like, you're going to one-clip this player that's up in the air, vulnerable like that. Obviously, the ult goes through, gets so many different things that kind of stop it, but Jans, with the wingman, is going to hit 1, get hit 2, and it should be Bushi going down very, very soon. Yakuin gets her own fall. Heretics just don't want to take too much damage. Luckily, because of the separation, no one is pushed yet. ForFun Esports maybe just made their move on the other side of the wall, waiting for this fight to end. I cannot believe this has not ended yet. It's like Oppenheimer. It's 3 hours long. What's going on with this fight?
Infinite finally go down. If I'm then, this is ridiculous. Nobody else third-party this. The fight went on for so long and nobody touched us, and now Heretics get to reset. Heretics, who, if I may remind you, have Axel. As long as Heretics can force Elite and ForFun to fight, they're going to win this game, and they should be able to do it.
And they got cover, they got walls. That ultimate's going to be up 2 for Jans. I really want to see this have an impact because 2 teams fighting each other, that is going to be the perfect distraction for somebody to get hit when blown up into the air with that Axel ultimate. I cannot wait to see if he can pull it off. There it is ForFun. They're almost down. They've got to move in. There it is. There's the ultimate as well. It actually chased Sinetic all to the other side. I don't know if that was a portal or something. I'm not sure if it hit, but he literally went to the other side of the map, Dia, and now it's just 3 squads left. ForFun still with 2 alive, and it's Heretics and EU is a full 3.
These walls, not really great cover, to be honest. And as the Gibby bubbles drop, it is just a firefight out in the open. Heretics finally get their bubble back, but Jans will go down. Elonzi has to reset. Still 3 squads, and so everybody's got to back off. Thunderdome is going to go down. Elonzi's got to get the heck out of dodge. Runs right into ForFun, and it'll be Elite EU that deal the lobby a +4 and take game 5.
What a play, man. This is crazy to see how that played out. Some incredible just survival tactics from ForFun Esports, but Elite EU kinda yelling at the screen. I see you kinda. Henchman and Light as well doing their thing. This is a great team, so much potential. Sitting in 6th right now in the league. They take the win in match 5. That's going to push them even farther up the leaderboards if those standings reflect how well they play just there, and they certainly will in just a moment. Dia, great end game. I love seeing Axel in the mix there. Didn't quite work out for Jans, but they definitely got into that top 3 zone.
Yeah, I was hoping. I thought, and I will say continue to think, that Axel in the end game is pretty busted, but it is Elite EU that find the win with some really good positioning. ForFun, bit of an awkward read on the fight. Wanted to third-party Heretics at Infinite, couldn't quite do it in time, and that left them in an awkward spot. It left Heretics in an awkward spot, and it left Elite in the best position.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, you know, it seemed like a bit of hesitation, and I feel like they got caught in, because just my thoughts have been so much on ForFun Esports and Sinetic and Tyler and Nags. There was the moment that they got caught. Do we push Virtus Pro? and Virtus.pro stayed alive. It put them in a bad spot. Sinetic had to do a miracle with that Wraith portal just to survive, and they somehow reset and got a kill on a squad wipe on the other end of a portal as Zone was chasing them. In the same situation, do we go? Do we stay? Caught in the middle doesn't work out for them. I wonder if that's just something to look at for ForFun, being more decisive, seeing what happens either way, but being more decisive in these moments, allowing trust to go into the hands of Nags and Tyler to get the job done in those fights. Because certainly once you see 1 or 2 downs, I feel like ForFun can definitely take on a beleaguered team or a team with only 1 player and come out on top with 3 full players of that quality.
And in the series so far, ForFun have done pretty well. They've both moved themselves up to top 3. But for teams like Elite EU, man, that game meant so much.
It's exciting to see. I love the way that we're talking about all these different stories and more stories to unfold here. Remember, doubleheader for Group A this weekend. The first day of that doubleheader about to culminate for EMEA here in the next match. So do not go anywhere. We've got some fun right around the corner. Sony InZone, the official audio and monitor partner of the Apex Legends Global Series.
Red Bull gives you wings.
In every fight comes a moment where you either run from the fire or run through it. You will find me on the other side. Rise to the podium or from the ashes tomorrow. Gebt Vollgas! I'll push, you punish.
In the end, everything dies.
Agreed.
Not today, kapatid. You've got people depending on you.
Failure is an opportunity if you use it.
I love the hunt, no matter the game.
Time to rise and shine. Thanks. Gotcha.
You are not built for this.
I'm even better face to face.
9. Your moment came. You are not ready.
Welcome back to the Apex Legends Global Series as we are opening our back-to-back weekend of games. The final round robin is here, and today, Graceful, is the first day of a very long weekend for Group A with our matchup of A and B. We're coming into our final game. It's already been a long day. It's going to be, like I said, a longer weekend for Group A, and we have got teams that are crushing this lobby, and we have got teams that are being crushed by it.
That's really, you know, the nature of the game sometimes is where if you have the double whammy on the same weekend, it could be incredibly good if you have momentum, or incredibly bad if you have a bad first day. You know, Zipline Mafia, one of the teams that sticks out to me as one of the teams on the cusp of potentially getting relegated even. Whereas you have other teams absolutely dominating, as we see on this leaderboard. VP, Prestige, Taskmaster, Osus, top 3, well, 3 out of the 4 top slots for kills have been absolutely popping off. Prestige specifically have impressed me really much today, as we've seen him casually 1v3, we've seen him entry 2 kills, we've seen him re-swing or refrag properly. He's done everything from a perspective of helping out the team.
Yeah, Prestige seemed honestly extremely chilled. I didn't get to talk to him because I don't speak anything that comes from Eastern Europe. I don't know. I can't understand it. He speaks really good Russian. I speak English. That's where we are. But when I was texting with him and translating things to Russian, I was asking him about their approach to this weekend, about what he thought would be strong, about how the meta was shaking up. And to be honest, Prestige seemed like the most relaxed guy in the world. VP have been on top of the league so far. They have been on top of the league today. They have changed almost nothing, and this has looked like another day at the office for them, Grace. We're not seeing this team change up a lot. We're not seeing them do anything crazy fancy. They are just playing good Apex Legends, the style that they've always known, and using their experience and leveraging it against the rest of the lobby.
I mean, definitely. And I think one of the things we can attribute to that as well is the fact that even though we're in a new season, as you can see with the bans, it's very standard. Crypto, Alter, the first 2 to go is very common, leading into later on with that Valkyrie as well, with the Watson, with the Newcastle. When you have all of these standard picks and the game plays out the same way you have been practicing for a long time, the same results will come up, and VP being up at the top is nothing too shocking. However, I will say though, remainder right here, series results for the day, the teams that we really have to look for are the team on the cusp of either making it into that top 20 potentially for the finals, or if you're just trying to survive in the Pro League, or if you're getting relegated. One of the teams that immediately stuck out there was one of the teams we have been talking about today, as we said, the SJP2. I would like to say we've been cheering for them. Didn't really get the ball rolling outside of those 2 KP. But at this point, the next day you have, you gotta absolutely smash it.
And the thing is, like, if you listened and like, in the way that we were talking about SJP2 last game, it's possible to hear that this team is not ready to do well, and that's kind of where I'm at right now. Is that this squad is talented, but not quite in the place where they understand how to win against these lobbies. I'm not hoping that the SJP2 playstyle works out. I'm hoping that they change it. I'm hoping that they read that, if not now, if not in time to avoid relegation, at least in time to make it back up to Pro League and try again. Because there is a fundamental misunderstanding between the way the SJP2 are playing the game and the styles that we are seeing succeed at the highest level of Pro League for teams like Virtus Pro.
Yeah, most definitely. However, looking at the zone now, a little bit of a difference. No longer Rift, no longer Summers. Now we're going straight into Hydroponics, or actually it could be pulling up a little bit more towards the northern side of that, actually towards Stock even. One of these zones here in this area is really, you know, very polished in playing. However, one thing we do see a little bit more, we actually see a couple more Axels coming out in match number 6. We haven't really seen that throughout the day. Are people just throwing a haymaker, or are they at the point where, hey, everything we're comfortable with playing just got banned, let's whip it out. The haymaker is coming out, let's see if we can make a big splash, because these teams on the bottom side of the top 10, or the bottom 10, need to make a huge game.
We've also got a Sparrow and a Mirage, so take that for what you will. Game 6 gives us some different looks at the game of Apex Legends. The fact that we are moving all the way down to Hydroponics, though, does give us a lot of space to coexist in for teams that choose to rotate here early. Teams like 3 Men, one of the squads that's actually doing very well today, currently sitting around 5th place, but in 20th overall in the Pro League leaderboards. Need to perform quite well. And actually, as I'm thinking about it, looking at what Gaming Gladiators are running, you can run long range when we go Hydroponics. You can do that. It's not bad.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to see a little bit of more love towards the snipers of this game. I feel like we've had a meta, and even now, especially with the Hemlock, but, you know, historically, where you don't really need snipers, you tend to play either marksmen or even sometimes ARs to fill that long range. Very happy to see the likes of Longbow getting picked up, because I know there's plenty of us sniper enjoyers out there.
It's difficult to make the snipers balanced as well. You're either getting one shot from like ages away, or you're playing a game that does, as we said in Game 5, become inherently quite close range. Something that Nova are experiencing right now as our singular Sparrow in the lobby is in trouble.
Oh. Do get to reset for a brief moment in those staircases. If they just get to like double swing, whatever, they even get there. Do they get reset? No, they don't. Actually, another team pulls up as well with that PK strafe. Looking through the staircase, hits a 66. Can he get that down? No, he's getting burned. Absolutely pinched for the moment. They're all eating too much damage. The people in the stairs are just screaming, leave us alone, as Blessed is looking to clean up whatever they can.
And they should be able to. Virtus Pro actually eliminated in 20th is a devastating blow to deal to the top of the lobby. See how far that ends up going. Who can perhaps take their spot near the top of the leaderboard is Blessed. We're on a frantic journey to get out of Dodge. Dockyard, not the place you want to be stuck in a multi-team fight.
One actually got fully thirsted right there, and they're going to get the reset as we see right there. Respawn coming in. Novo gets that respawn as well. Zipline Mafia, however, sitting very comfortably here for the moment now, seeing if they're gonna have to make a play sooner than later, but feeling happy as they're just scouting out where every team is rotating.
With SJP2 now gone, their season looks to be finishing the way that it has been this entire time. They've got one more match day ahead of them, but this one not going to be their favorite. Team Heretics taking the high ground away right now. Have got a nice position around this corner of the map to play aggressively, but they don't have to get too aggressive. That's the craziest thing about Game 6 is that you're seeing what pressure does to a lot of these teams, and for some of them it's working out, and for some of them it really isn't.
Yeah, and that's the thing now, though. If you haven't played aggressively so far, like at some point you just have to pull the trigger on it because you need that KP. They're sitting on 11th currently with 27 points. That's not really enough for them to make that huge splash. Like, they are currently sitting on 60 points overall, which is really good, but they want to make sure to cement themselves, you know, because the leaderboard can shift really quickly. When you never want to get to the point where you're like, we're relying on other teams to play specifically for us to make it through. We want to make sure that we made it happen, and the rest of the lobby has to adapt.
Grace, give me a second. Let's preview what's going on in this game. Point out some of the spots that you'd like to see people play that you think are particularly powerful in hydroponics. Of course, when we get back from watching Team Heretics be wiped off the map.
I mean, definitely, when we see that for sure, I will point it out now. Blessed, however, one of the teams that repositioned outwards, also get a couple of KP coming back in. And that's the thing, the discipline to understand when, hey, we shouldn't put ourselves at a risk for a pinch. Let's reposition and re-engage for a straight 3v3, and that's how it happens. And as we see here, ForFun, one of the good examples of being an adaptable spot, because one, the zones actually could end around them, but two, they could actually, yeah, right there where ForFun is actually playing, regardless of where it pulls, they have options to fight for sides and even 3P, because other teams are forced to make plays before them. The Horde, however, you can say is feeling very comfortable, but if it pulls way too far off of them, now they're in a split scenario where they have to rotate on each side, and there's so many layers here to play, right? You have the top, you have the in-between, and then you have several buildings. And when you're the first to have to move and there's several spots ahead of you, now it becomes a lot harder for that micro movement, and you're kind of hoping to 3P a specific side. On the flip side of things, far east here, Elite EU though, in the zone, as we see the traditional edge play, making sure that they clear their bags and take straight 3v3s, and that's very, very, how should I say, it's not volatile because it's a 3v3.
Well, you know, in theory, but as you're talking about, you know, you're thinking about Elite EU. I was also looking at that map and noticing that towards the south end of Phase Driver, we've got Havoc Legends, we've got ECLIPSE NEEVEPRO, we've got Elite EU starting to make their way in. We've got Gamin Gladiators even here trying to portal out. There's a lot of traffic that you can run into on your way in. And clean 3v3s can become not so clean. So I'm not sure about the sort of edge play style being the safest, because in this game, to me, Graceful, it looks real risky.
It's definitely like it's all about timing and scouting ahead, right? If you get caught, like you want to make sure you have time, like enough time to take that 3v3. Because if it's too late, somebody's probably gonna end up creeping you or coming on the same side as you. And if it's way too early, well, then people are just like, nothing is happening, so they might as well look at you, right? So you have to find that perfect timing. However, Awaken find something on the flip side of things, not on the east side, but on the northern side. Get to pick out Ekio right there. CJ feeling very good about that.
Yeah, he gets a little greedy with the phase timing, but the fact that he's down actually means that Black Venom can craft him. Black Venom was over by Carrier, taking the balloon. We checked in with him for a second. Then maybe over by Oasis, you'll be able to find a crafter, some sort of respawn for the rest of Mamma Mia, who are not out yet. However, this side of the ring, this, what is this, eastern side, ends up being just as risky as we imagined. With Gamin Gladiators perhaps going down, Zane's already used his phase and will just expire, leaving his team high and dry, blasts burning to a crisp, and Gamin Gladiators go out. Our team in first and second have been eliminated before we're even into the top 10, Grace. These standings can be mixed up.
Can definitely get mixed up. I think they moved a little bit too early. There's no reason for them to move when they're actually in for a lot longer time. If they actually managed to hold out their backs, they opted to try to rotate into the pits earlier, got severely punished by it as more teams were thinking of the same things. Havoc Legends was one of the teams that ran into Elite, I believe, and now they're trying to struggle as he comes down to one person as Elite takes down, or he's looking to fight another team on the edge as everybody is collapsing from the same side, which is the eastern side right now.
Never gets easier, but for Citadel, things could get very fun. They're going to go into the portal, not knowing what is on the other side of it. And when I say fun, ForFun are on the other side of this. We'll see whether they end up fighting, as Citadel actually have a pretty safe spawn and instantly portal themselves. So again, playing most of this game in the void right now.
That's such a clutch play. It's like you come out and you're normally vulnerable, but when you have a Wraith into that calculation, you're no longer vulnerable. Hey guys, stand in my TP. I'm gonna get us to a safe spot. So many places to drop, whether that be underneath that small little tunnel, whether that be in the buildings. They get a good positioning out of that rift. Really good play from them.
I like that Colibri's trying to follow this portal. It is punishable, but it seems like Havoc Legends know that and are going to leave just to try and survive for a little while longer. The Zipline Mafia trying to make their way in are burning down to zone as we speak, but still have a ways up this leaderboard that they can climb should they survive. 32 seconds left, and look what's right ahead of them. A chance to scan the ring console, get a little bit more information than anyone else is going to have.
Indeed, they have that info just about now. Let's see if they can point out the team that's behind them in the zone as well. This is one of those things where, like, this zone you can easily out-heal, as we saw as well, even with ranges. Even the next zone, you can pop medis if it's after a certain amount of ticks. You just need to make sure that you're able to get that rotate on timing and hopefully not get scouted while you're walking in, slowly healing, because that's when you really do get taken out. It's going to be tough because there's at least 4 teams coming in from the northern side of teams, things where things are going to get collapsed on, but ForFun Esports, been sitting there for the longest of times, are going to have a field day. If fight breaks out, they should be able to get a couple of KP from them.
Well, Awakened get eliminated, joining Havoc Legends in the waiting room for their next match day. We've got 12 teams left. And the Horde been waiting for a while for the game to come to them. Not been a part of a lot of eliminations so far, as they started off hydroponics and are waiting for the rest of the lobby, for the rest of the chaos to become their problem. Orgless and Hungry, it's their problem right now. And even making their way out of zone seems like a tall order. They get fried up for lunch. Orgless and Hungry are out, and Blessed on the low ground have got to fight Citadel for their way in now. Nice swing by Sanya to almost take down Sudi, and the frag does it for him. Blessed are playing this fantastically, and a nade into the bubble as well is perfectly placed. Sanya really knows what he's doing with these frags.
The crazy part is Citadel Gaming tries to take the TP back, and Zipline Mafia set up in that building. It's now also have a spot, actually. Blessed managed to take Citadel Gaming out with the help of Zipline Mafia. Both have a playable area right now, but the zone is actually pulling away, like we said it right now. ForFun has been sitting here for a while. What are they going to do? Are they going to take fights, or are they going to try to rotate ahead and hold teams out? Let's have a listen in with ForFun Esports to see what their plan is.
I'm on the TP. Right here. Did it come to you or what? No. Just play high. Yeah, play high. Get to the building. The buildings are free.
Okay. Put the wood in then.
We're in it.
Wait, I'm gonna give you one more, okay? One more to play for.
Team on my open, west here. They're not in the open exactly, but they're behind the box. They're bombing my wall, Hit it.
I'm with you,
Here.
I'll hold it.
Chill. No walls now, no walls right now.
Oh, I took the wrong
Get a safety wall.
perk.
Shit.
I don't have triple ult.
Yeah, just get a safety wall. Make sure you have a safety wall, because if you get fucked,
really
like,
bad.
you have to, I don't know, survive.
We're fine. As long as they don't fire us, we're good. Can we peek on this side?
ForFun managed to get God spot actually with that repositioning. They're feeling really good about themselves now as other teams are forced into locations where they're not really that safe. Zipline Mafia is on that cusp, but they're not actually in that zone, I believe. They might have a small corner potentially, but ForFun Esports controlling such a good spot right now. The Horde was initially on top controlling everything, but other teams are starting to move in for those same locations. The Horde is currently competing with, I believe, Infinite on that other building right now. Everybody's going to look to see where the zone is going to pull in 20 seconds, and that will be crucial to see who's going to be forced to take a fight on which team.
Now, I'd like to highlight this quick before it goes away. ECLIPSE, NEEVEPRO are still in this game, and ECLIPSE, NEEVEPRO need points. They have had a terrible day. They are close to not even making it into regional finals. A win here, even a top 3, could solve a lot of problems for ECLIPSE, who otherwise might be facing down, missing out on playoffs.
As we say that as well, I believe that we're getting poked a little bit underneath that bridge, but they are in a phenomenal spot as right now one of the teams gets super punished actually. ForFun is looking to punish a team taking the other building right now, and they also get punished. It comes down to a 1v1 trade. If they can clear this out, they're going to be in a good spot, but as you said as well, ECLIPSE is peeking their heads up right now. Can they find something?
Do we not have Portal? Like, we need to get this Gibby in now. ForFun have the chance to win the game from this position, but they cannot afford to be giving up kills to anyone. Well, 3 men do fall down briefly. They get a respawn. They manage to survive. 3 men, ForFun, and ECLIPSE NEEVEPRO are all on top of each other. Heaven or Icon close by as well, but these buildings providing near infinite safety, and I say that, and we're throwing it.
3 men also gets pinched right there as well as Zipline Mafia, as we said before, is on that slope actually looking to stick their heads out on the opposite side thing. ECLIPSE on one side, Zipline Mafia on the other side. Who's gonna get railed in between all of them as now as we see drills coming in from every side. Orgstar comes in, Takeo on 1 HP. Babylons is now opting for that TP, but where does he go?
3 men might be kissing their place in the standings goodbye. 5th right now, but eliminated in 9th. 3 men have got to hope that they can stay top 5 off of that finish as the Horde come in. Already top 5 themselves, might be able to help out just a little bit with 3 men's issues. Zipline Mafia will fall. Unfortunate for them, but the Horde are here to cause some serious problems for their next door neighbors ForFun.
Zipline Mafia drops down on Heaven and ECLIPSE, I believe, and they get a couple of KP. ForFun tries to find something, but gets punished by Kings right now. Horde was on top, managed to swing all the way on the east side. They're not going to sit in a pretty spot in that building. They barely have a corner right there, which I believe Nag, Sinetic, and Tyler should be able to see. As right now, the Horde is looking to see if they can find any area to play with. They should be getting poked out here. If they can't find anything as the drills down Hordeki.
Infinite still in this as well. They've had a tough day ever since we left E District, but need some comeback games. Finally, we're getting value out of Mirage in an ALGS game. Kazakh is back up, invisible for now. And they're not spotted? Are they not spotted? What's happening? What are we doing? ECLIPSE needs from Portal on them, but don't kill anyone from the Horde?
Why is he trying to kill them? Just swing that. 9 survives on the Mirage. Let's see if he can make a play happen. ECLIPSE is feeling very happy right now with the amount of KP they have found. Kashira gets another one, I believe, and now the ForFun, as we saw earlier, on top of that building is actually out of the zone before ECLIPSE. ForFun is gonna have to end up fighting for that slope, but if ECLIPSE can get out in a good positioning on that side down by the river, things could work out for them somehow.
In terms of biggest winners, the teams for whom a win would be the biggest turnaround here, we've still got Infinite and ECLIPSE NEEVEPRO right underneath ForFun at the moment. ForFun seemed like the team in the best position to win the game, although we do know that Tyler took the wrong perk, so who's to say?
We also saw that slope that I thought Eclipse would fight for. Bless took that slope right now. Eclipse is going to have to make a play. Are we going to fight for the bridge on the western side, or are we going to try to go up the pit on the eastern side, pretty much right underneath ForFun? It's a gamble to take regardless, but if they can push off Bless here from this bridge with the help of Sinetic, things could work out for them, as Sinetic is taking massive space right now.
Bless to do lightly misplay on this hold of a head glitch. ForFun actually playing theirs really well right now, making sure to use it to actually leverage onto Blessed. Sinetic almost gets 2-tapped, but joins his team right back again. ForFun playing small, playing safe, letting the rest of the lobby do its thing as Infinite and Blessed are forced to fight over this small bridge right underneath them, right underneath Infinite rather. Blessed are surely going to go down to the ring. It is a matter of time. They've got no way up now.
What is Eclipse gonna do here? They're stuck underneath their bridge. Are they gonna have to take all... Are they playing for placement points? It's gonna be such a tough time to get... How are they even gonna get up? Bless is gonna die to the zone eventually. They're looking for the TP play right here, as Kings is looking for that Ray play. This is the team we need to be looking at permanently right now. They need the points. They need these wins. As a huge TP from Kings comes out, he gets found, however. The TP gets placed, and they're trying to survive for the moment as Kashira and Uxako gets up. Uxako gets knocked down. Will ForFun close this game out, or it stinks? No, wall comes out.
This Catalyst wall, not even ForFun's. This is one that Eclipse placed down to survive. Kashira makes it to top 3 with this. Can he make top 2? Yes, he can! Eclipse NEEVEPRO make it all the way to top 2 as ForFun will finish things off with the win.
I'm happy with the play. They decided to stay underneath. It was very risky. That TP play worked out okay only because they played Catalyst and that wall came out and he managed to survive for top 2. Could have had a little bit more of a KP. I would like to say for sure, if they went early when ForFun was fighting in that building in between them, they could have had their spot and more KP. But I completely understand that if you had a bad day for the moment, you're a little bit more, you're not really too fast on the trigger. It ended up paying off for this moment. So will that be enough to push them up enough to where if they can, you know, score a little bit more points? We'll have to see.
Positionally, this is a win for Eclipse NEEVEPRO, especially a team that has played zone for so long. I mean, you know Kashira's play style. That is what it's all about. The placement points are the thing that are going to mean the most to them and are going to mean the most to the standings. ForFun, though, another excellent zone IGL, returning with a win today. ForFun grabbing the first place with kills as well. Got the excellent position in zone, just as you had called graceful. They found themselves God spot in the middle of a chaotic lobby.
They managed to find that as well. Like they've been sitting right there where the rift actually ends for the longest of times, managed to work their way into a God spot that was empty. I can't believe that was empty actually, but I think it's because everybody just doesn't want to play it too early. As we saw why, everybody was getting absolutely pinched over and over. The Horde came from the eastern side, Zipline Mafia came from the slope, so I get it. But when you take those risks, like I said, if you don't even try, it's never gonna work out. But if you at least give it a shot, and sometimes it works out, it pays off with a win.
I love it, man. This has been a fantastic showcase of what these teams can do. Obviously, you know, we saw a big second place from Kashira and squad. That was a great portal by Kings. Great utilization of the new perk that's been added to Wraith. I think we're seeing the value of Wraith show up big time here. But when you look at these series results, I want to just highlight Gamin Gladiators were sitting first place by about 13 points heading into that final zone. And the win from ForFun and the way that they won pushed them all the way up to first place with 7 points in the lead. What a day for them, a team, Sinetic, Nags, and Tyler, that we had talked so much about Dia and elaborated upon their story. It seems like, for whatever reason, this has just been a moment that they have really taken in their hands and said, we're going to take control of EMEA today. And it certainly has looked great for this squad that has so much potential, finally showing it.
Yeah, it really feels like they're taking advantage of the uncertainty in the region. As you talked about, they're clearly experiencing a bit themselves, not sure what to commit to at the right times, whatever it may be. But with their win today, ForFun at least are the least uncertain of the squads in EMEA. They know what playstyle they're running for. They know what they want, what positions they want to play, what legends they want to do it on, and how that game looks ideally for them. And that is something that I think for the rest of the teams is still very much an evolving conversation, especially with this discussion about Axel that we had earlier in the day.
And you got to remember, Graceful, that ForFun, they're Group B, so they're going to play next week. And again, a team like Gamin Gladiators, who were first, now dropped to second. This is it. So they're trying to max out as many points as possible. I think they'll still be happy with 73 right now, knowing that they get to play tomorrow as well and pad that score a little bit. But a team like ForFun, they won this A versus B in April 19th when they actually last did it, Grace. So there's something about this lobby that actually really works for them.
And that's the thing, really. That's the beauty of having more teams than just a 20 lobby and then that's it, right? When you have matchup, essentially, groups versus specific groups. One team that might be called the group of death is gonna hard struggle against a team that people consider is easy, because the clash of playstyles really affect how certain teams plays, whether that be just macro or just matchup difficulties in terms of like people are just not used to fighting specific comps. If there's a tons of Axels, I promise you teams that are dominating might even struggle because it's just something out of the ordinary. So it's always fun to see this matchup, but ForFun coming out ahead with that, like for me, that's textbook gameplay of how they're playing, from moving from spot to spot, playing in adaptable spots, getting into God spot, essentially holding that God spot, and then playing space that like we saw Sinetic actually playing up so much and then trying to get more picks, facing out. Like he was playing that really, really well.
Yeah, Dia, in many ways, you know, we thought there'll be this influx. We're going to have a chance, hopefully, to talk to a player about this soon. But of Axel's, maybe of a meta shift, we knew it was going to be a little bit more relaxed in EMEA. We have seen it be, I think, even twice as much as relaxed as we maybe assumed, with pretty much looking like Axel didn't even exist. Like they're just back to what was happening for the rest of the season. And it's like the Wraith updates just came out. Now we're just checking out what the Wraith portal can do with that new perk ability. But in a way, I think it's also showcasing how, as we get later on, no matter what region you're in globally, these picks are going to be available. The only thing that would allow this to be different is, you know, how does, in an Axel lobby that is global where people are playing, how does the Wraith do comparatively to that as a choice? Because so far Sinetic's looked phenomenal on that, and I feel like he's had some moments where you could see the decision making happening, but they've ended up being the right decisions every single time.
Yeah, I think that there are situations where people are using Wraith where we probably should be using Axel instead as a movement legend, as an aggressive choice, but there's time to figure all that out. There's time to see how it functions at the top level. And I am happy to see at least some of our teams experimenting with that. And especially in scrims, I have seen a lot more comfortability with it. So it could be that another week of scrims happens, and honestly, Group A may not have to deal with a whole lot of Axel as a result of that. They may just get to play these last 2 days out on essentially the same patch as they started on. Yeah. And it'll be groups B and C that really deal with the increased comfortability on Axel, and maybe have that as a detriment, but also a benefit going into playoffs.
I think it's crazy too to see how successful our Sony in-zone kill leaderboard has been on the side of particularly one player, Prestis, who at this point coming into this season was, I think, 3rd overall in kills across Americas and EMEA, and certainly first place in EMEA. Just been doing so phenomenally to keep the pressure from Virtus Pro. And I go back to that April 19th day, last A versus B when these teams clashed, and it was Prestis who was 2nd place as well there. ForFun won and Virtus Pro and Prestis took 2nd place. So not surprised to see ForFun win again and Prestis to be on top of the leaderboard win this entire A versus B clash yet again. But Grace, talk a little bit about this player. Have you had a chance to play against Prestis? What's been your experience watching and potentially playing against this guy, and you know how well he's lighting up this leaderboard?
Well, I have played against him both in, I believe, in ranked and as well as in scrims and tournaments, and I feel like when you have that, like, how should I say it in a good way? Back in the day, we used to have like confidence, not necessarily ego, but confidence. I feel like Prestis has found that, which a lot of players have been lacking. Whether that be excuse to, oh my god, there's aim assist, there's rollers, whether that be whatever reason it is, he's found it. And if he can keep this form and shape, he's going to explode on the global stage as well. Now we're in EMEA, but he's going to go even further on the global stage, because now when you found that form that you really want, if you can just harness it properly, wow. I mean, like I said, we saw him 1v3 today. We couldn't catch all the actions. 6 kills on that over there, 6 kills over there, 4 kills over there. Consistency across the board. He's been popping up.
Well, it's interesting because it was all very top heavy, especially when you started out on E-District. He got one really good game, you know, in our second half of it on Olympus, but kind of finished off there. It wasn't really anything beyond that, the last two games were duds. But Virtus Pro have been in a great spot. They're second place overall in the league. They don't have too much to worry about. We highlighted a lot of the teams that needed to make a run. Out of those teams that we were talking about, did anybody do the job today that you thought of? Obviously, ForFun winning. They didn't really need the win. They were in a great spot, but they'll be happy. Who succeeded in your eyes? Maybe who didn't?
Yeah, I mean, I'll start with who didn't because it's the most recent in my mind. ECLIPSE NEEVEPRO did get the second place. I'm really excited for them off that. This was not a good day for them. I struggle to see who had the best. I think Orgless in Hungary had a really good one.
Yeah, true.
Relatively. Infinite as well, I would throw up here. I think Infinite, despite not having the really high highs, actually had probably the best day for their standings, for their chance at playing in regional finals of any of the teams that were currently, as we say, on the bubble.
Is this a relationship connected to the way that they've been playing? Like we saw pretty similar EMEA Pro League, Grace, pretty similar results. Some teams, you know, sure, they got closer, but no table turning, right? Is that kind of because we're seeing the same thing that happened before still?
I mean, it's really a tough call to make, because if you look, I would say anybody on the second page right there, not second page, but the second row is like, you're at that point where you have to play above average, and even at that point you have to pray that the rest of the leaderboard doesn't get jumbled too much, right? You never want to be in that scenario to where you lead up to that point. And even a team like Citadel Gaming, one of the teams that I think a lot of people have had pretty high up on several tier lists, right? For good reasons, are having those results right now. I think that it's hard, whether that be, I think it's a little bit of a mix of both, you know. It's comfortness into playing in the league, but also meta shifts potentially, and it hasn't even hit yet. I'm really excited for the next region.
I actually think Citadel Gaming, a team we had talked very highly of earlier on in the broadcast today, it's a disappointing result, because now what they're looking at is being 5-6 points behind qualification already, with those two teams, Infinite and Blessed, in their group, in Group A. So not only do they have to play tomorrow, get as many points to be the buffer for Group C and B that will be playing next weekend, they've got to surpass two teams that are already in the group they're playing in tomorrow. So they've got to somehow make sure they get at least 6-7 points ahead of those teams, which means at minimum you're looking at a first place all the way down to maybe that team max being able to play 7th, maybe you know, 6th. I think if they get to well, no, actually 3rd would be enough. If you get a first place, they couldn't get past 3rd, but if you drop into like 3rd place and you don't win, well, you know, how you make it up 7 points, that team's got to be in the bottom 10. We're talking about Infinite and Blessed. So you're hoping for bad performances and you got to play well. Not a good spot to be for a team that we definitely would have expected to be in regional finals. As we look at our qualified teams for our Split 1 playoffs, currently we've got our defending champion VK Gaming, who will be there. VK made their big statement, Dia, at EWC last year, and it was exciting to see them do that. And obviously, APAC South looking to defend their title. It started what was a run of seeing EMEA and APAC South and different regions, you know, jump into the title race.
Of course, and I mean, we have really limited spots as well, which makes it quite scary. I think sure you would have seen at the bottom of that graphic, America's has eaten up a lot of the spots that we've got to qualify. So that alone is going to turn a lot of team stomachs.
Well, one of the great things that we get to do after a day like this, where there's so many unknowns and a lot of questions we have, and we're excited to see the tension that's, you know, we talk about but isn't necessarily felt by us, is to turn our attention to the players who are actually going through it. And we have Sinetic joining us here today. Sinetic, congratulations on an amazing win, man, and I hope you're feeling well.
Yeah, I'm doing good, bro. Feels good. Feels good to win again. This Pro League is looking really good.
You know, your Pro League is looking great. I talked a little bit about this, and I'm just going to jump straight into it with you. The conversation was what happened, you know, with you guys having, I think, a rise, and I think it was maybe on that Made in Heaven phase roster, winning a Pro League, getting to LAN, having your family join you, having these kind of highs, and then going into another split where you didn't reach that same high. And then obviously now you've got a different roster, you know, Zane and now Tyler stepping in. Talk to me about your journey and how you found a way to kick it back into gear through that, you know, thing that happens as a competitor where sometimes it's going great, sometimes you got to figure it out. You've seemed like you found a way. What's been working for you?
Well, I mean, well, the biggest difference between like the first year that I played and when we did well and the second year was like I kind of like stepped down from fragger role. I felt like I could get a better fragger player to just fill the slot on my team, so I did that, and then did that for a year, and the whole year was kind of on and off. Like we felt really good. One like LAN, I think it was, or Pro League. I don't remember. It was like we felt really good, and then we felt really bad, and then we went to LCQ, and we were like on and off, like feeling, I don't know, just nothing was clicking. Like the whole year, nothing was clicking. So after champs, doing mediocre again, like doing really bad, to be honest, in my opinion. Like that team, we should have been like finals for sure. Like I don't know, like I think Zane is one of the best players in the like world easily. But after that, I just thought to myself, okay, if I'd done it before on when I was fragging, but I was playing MNK back then. That's the big difference, by the way. That what happened after champs is I thought, okay, I need to frag again. But the game like evolved forward. Obviously, I played a year under support. I had to change something, so I just decided to try controller. Like, why not? That's like what every other frag guy is using. Like, why not? Like, controller feels good. I tried that, hopped on it, just the full commit. No looking back, full commit. I was never gonna go a frag guy, you know, like ever. Like I decided to myself, I would never ever not play frag guy anymore. And that's it. And now we're back where we were 2 years ago. Oh yeah, 2 years ago, same shit. Back at it. Wow. I don't know.
I mean, I really want to say, Dia, sorry to cut you off there, brother.
No.
You could really see it as well in that last game, seeing the way you played up on that slope, letting the team on the east, like on the opposite side slope. I think you shot down Sonny. I can't remember who you shot them, but you're taking so much space proactively, and it's really important to have somebody on the team to make those plays and decision making. And seeing you do that on repeat, like you said, you did before, and then you took maybe your slope, your downtrend. Let's just not say slope. Your downtrend was the fact that you couldn't do those plays like you used to do before. Now you're back at it again, and maybe that was your baseline. You've always been great, and then people wonder what happened. And now that you're back again, is that just it? Just go roller? Is that what you're preaching to the people?
Nah, I'm not gonna lie. I think the roller part is like the game is evolving. Like you obviously have to adapt. Like there isn't many MNK fraggers left, like very good MNK fraggers at least. I think the bigger part was like, you have to like play what you want to play. You can't get someone else to do what you want. Like you can't get carried. Like you have to be the one doing exactly what you want to do. Like there's no other way of becoming the best other than doing the thing that you want to do. You can't just step away. There's no going at half speed. You have to be 100% committed. There's nothing else. That's like the only way.
And tying that into what we saw today, obviously the win today is huge. It moves you up on the leaderboards fantastically. This could be the beginning of something even better. This can continue snowballing, and I want that for you. However, in isolation, what's gone on today, what do you credit that to, given that it is just the first blip on what we're hoping will be a very successful series of blips?
I mean, I think we just have an insane baseline now. Like I don't feel like there's. I mean, what's our worst placement this Pro League? Was it 6th? I don't know. I just feel like I feel like today wasn't anything like special.
8th maybe.
I think. Was it 8th? I don't know. I think it was 6th.
No, 6th. Okay.
I'm pretty sure it was 6th.
Yeah, 6th.
I mean, that's what I remember.
We've been corrected. It was 6th. You're good.
Anyway, anyway, like I think what we're doing is we're just playing the same game over and over again, and because we do the same thing over and over again, same in scrim, same in practice, there's like at some point it's just gonna become so smooth. There's no way to lose. There's no way to fuck up.
I love it, man. I think, you're locked in, and I think the journey that you've gone on as a player is one that anybody who gets to a certain level realizes is coming, because you get to stabilizing as a pro. There are people in this lobby today, they're trying to stay in Pro League, and you've passed that journey. You've been successful at times, and you've then realized, okay, if I do different things, I'm not as successful. If I don't own my journey, I'm not as successful. If I don't put myself in this position, things can happen. And so you then took that journey on. Seems like you're locked into, okay, now I found success again. I've learned that level. The next level, obviously, is, can we do it in regional finals? Can we do it in LAN coming up here? And I know that you seem to be locked in for that. So give me some thoughts on those two big upcoming days for you. Just your thoughts on it. Is this a team you really think is, obviously you guys look LAN bound, but is that the goal?
I mean, goal is obviously doing really like winning a LAN. I feel like for me personally, if I look back at every LAN that I've played, there's multiple LANs that I always feel like we lacked we didn't practice early enough. We didn't actually have the hang of it, and we didn't practice early enough. Most of my bad LANs that I feel like I really just think I didn't take practice serious enough. I feel like that's my problem is I never I never took everything as serious as I could. Now it's different. Now I'm obviously I've just missed out. Last year I missed out on one LAN. That's the first LAN I missed. Just I don't know. I'm fully just reborn in my own head.
Yeah. You look like you went to the top of the mountain, man, and you saw the guru, and you learned the secrets of life, and came down the hill and are teaching everybody, man. Locked in is not locked in is not quite the word I'd use, because it's a little bit more than that. I mean, you're starting to scare me, bro. You're starting to scare me. All right. No, all intents and purposes, man. The one thing I did want to get a comment on before we go, obviously the swap with Zane and Tyler. You said Zane's one of the best players in the world, but swapping into Tyler, you guys are doing just as well. How is Tyler meshing to allow this to happen as well? Obviously, no disrespect to Zane and his quality, but how is he fitting in to allow you guys and you to do this particularly?
I mean, just the top of my head, the first thing that comes to mind, Tyler is way more flexible. He has experience on more legends than Zane, which is because he's played more roles as well. Zane's always been fragger, always. As long as I know, he's been fragger. Tyler has played other roles. And that just makes sense. If I want to frag, I need someone to refrag. That someone can be, it could have been Zane, but Tyler is just amazing at that. I'm not gonna lie. I think every team has been refragging on. He's been doing insanely well.
Amazing. Well, thank you, man. We've got spent some great time with you. I think this is one of our better interviews this split, and we appreciate you. Thank you for sharing a bit of your insight. I'm sure you've made even more fans than you might have right now by talking about your journey and showing how locked in you are. I'm sure many people will be rooting for you to go all the way this split.
Yeah, thank you. Definitely.
All right. Sinetic from ForFun Esports. My goodness, guys, that was a fun one. Dia, like I said, he's scaring me a little bit. The man seems like he's looking, he's found the source code.
He does. I wanted to talk to him earlier this week. It's always a struggle when we have players on that I've tried to interview to go, hey, you should respond to me. But now's not the time. Now's not the time. I found out, however, why didn't respond to me. He was on the top of the mountain.
Yeah.
He was consulting with the gurus, or whatever it may be.
It's true.
And I accept it. I accept my fate. I have to come second to the guru. I have to come second to winning, and I'll accept that.
Dang, don't ghost Dia, otherwise I'll bring it up on broadcast, Grace. I'm never not responding to a text from him ever again. What's your thought on that, man? Does this look like the same Sinetic that was balling out? Is this a different, more evolved Sinetic? Is this Super Saiyan 3 Sinetic? What are we looking at here?
For me personally, I remember Sinetic. He actually wanted to challenge me to a 1v1. This was a long time ago before he had really good results. I remember that. And I feel like when he has that confidence of I'm able to win against anybody, and he found that again. I don't think like I said, I don't really think it's the roller swap. If that enabled it, that's good. But like he said, I wanted to frag, I'm going to frag. And I
Yeah.
think this is something a lot of players, especially old or veteran players, could learn as well, because we've seen this swap plenty of times. We've seen Nasky try to frag instead of IGL. We've seen several people try to swap roles. Maybe this is what you really you really need to do, is focus on that one thing that you're really good at and that you really wanted to do from the bottom of your heart, and that could help you excel. Super happy for him specifically. I'm a little bit sad we don't get to talk too much about all the players on the team, because there's only so much time we have on air, right?
Yeah.
Really wanted to shout out the rest of the teammates as well. Phenomenal performance by all the boys. So very happy for them.
Well, we can't talk to all of them because you're talking so much. We need you to talk as well. And Dia, I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, it's like I can get we can replace you with Tyler and Nags if you want, Grace, but I don't want that. Okay, I want to hear you talking.
I'd miss you, Grace.
I'd miss you too. Hey, man, I appreciate you guys. You guys are so fun. We're hanging out. We're continuing the jokes and laughter coming up in the Americas, so don't worry about that. We will be very soon continuing on. But for everybody who just watched, yeah, like I said, it's not over. We've got more gameplay coming up. We've got the Americas starting at 3 p.m. Pacific time. That's about an hour and 45 minutes from wherever your time zone is showing now. And the exciting part is that we get to see what we believe will be a lot more of our new legend, Axel. EMEA, maybe a little bit of a gentleman's agreement that it's not quite time to pull out the Axel yet, and we will be bringing in later splits, maybe later weekends, but America should be full force with the Nitro Gates kickstarting our Axel gameplay for the ALGS. Everybody who's been watching, make sure to stay tuned to our socials to know when we go live, all of the updates, catch things like those interviews reposted if you miss a little bit of it at the beginning or the end, and all good things by following Play Apex Esports on socials. And keep it locked here. In a couple hours, we'll be back for more North America. So remember, everybody, to never give up, never stop gaming, and we'll see you all in just a bit.